subscribe, like the video, and, if possible, join Patreon. But if you don't have much money, you can support the channel by watching the novels on euroaudiobooks.com. Remember that you can participate in the polls so that your favorite novel gets published for free.
The yard was quiet, with no smoke or sound. Did it fail? It's okay, try again. It's common for ninjutsu to fail. Howie immediately comforted his son. Kyojuro shook his head. Dad, it's already successful. The plan is in the yard, but I don't know where it is exactly. Kyojuro looked at the prompt. New plant summoned successfully on the panel, but the plant illustration and plant introduction that should have come with it did not appear. Several people immediately went to the yard and began to search. After searching for about a quarter of an hour, they found a small red fruit in the corner that was not originally there. Kyojuro, is this the plant you summoned this time? Kyojuro immediately came over, and when the red fruit appeared in his field of vision, the plant illustration and plant introduction also appeared. Yes. This is what I summoned this time. There are always plants that say that potato mines are lazy because they always leave everything to the last minute. Potato mines have no time to pay attention to them. They are busy thinking about their own strategies and tactics. Uchiha Kyojuro looked at it curiously. What use can such a red fruit have? It grows on the ground. Kyojuro looked at the content on the panel. This part of the potato grows on the ground, and it can... Uncle Madara, don't. Uchiha Madara grabbed the fruit. Boom. He was sprayed with dirt in the face by the explosion. Cough, 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 puff. What is that? Explosion, Kyojuro said 2 words late. Uncle Madara, can you not use the hand speed you practice to make hand seals on this? Tashima looked at his eldest son's dusty face and smiled unkindly. Izuna hurriedly helped Madara clean the dirt off his body and asked casually, what will happen if you touch the part buried in the soil from underground? It will explode. Taijima slapped the pillar. Beautiful. This is a special plant that is specially used to guard against the evil spirit that roams underground. Uchiha Madara shook the dirt in his hair. But if you want to use such a small thing to cover the entire clan land, you need a lot of it. Kyojuro, how many can you summon at a time? Kyojuro stretched out 2 fingers. Too few. It's 200. Theoretically, he can summon plants without restrictions, but the summoning is still related to his own state. At present, his instinct tells him that 200 is the limit of one-time summoning. Your wood release has been upgraded again. Yeah. Ha. Kyojuro, you are awesome. Kyojuro. The family members began to circle around Kyojuro again. Could there be less of a strange tacit understanding? In order to understand the characteristics of the plant called potato mine, Taijima specially found an open field to conduct experiments. First, Anjuro was asked to bury a potato mine at the designated location, and then the tribesmen were asked to dig down from the soil next to it. When they reached the vicinity of the potato mine, the people withdrew through kunai from a distance and penetrated the underground part of the potato mine. Observers on the ground immediately discovered that the small red fruit on the top of the potato mine flashed several times quickly. Bang! Potato mines exploded. This thing is just a trigger detonator, Taijima concluded, but he always felt that they thought of the function too single. How could Zenjuro summon such a plant that he couldn't use in daily life? The big Uchiha on the side said immediately, it must be that we didn't find the right way to use it. Just like the cherry bomb before, we collected the seeds first and then planted them before they could grow into cherry trees and bear fruit. That's right. Let's study it slowly. Maybe there will be any changes after planting it. Is it possible that the fruit above is edible? Such a small fruit. It's not delicious even if you eat it. It's red and looks very juicy and sweet. Maybe the underground part is edible. Is it the same as sweet potatoes? It's possible. I think the bottom part looks a bit like a sweet potato. Under the guidance of the newly appointed elder Uchiha Q, Anjuro planted potato mines in every key corner of the Uchiha clan. Especially in the periphery of the clan area, it basically follows the principle of one potato mine in 2 or 3 steps. When Heiju hummed an ancient tune and prepared to see how Senna was doing recently. As soon as he entered the area of the Uchiha clan, he didn't know what he bumped into. But he was suddenly blown out of the earth by a sudden explosion, and his originally smooth, black fluid body was also covered with a layer of earth. Although it's hard to tell, Black Zetsu hurriedly burrowed back into the soil, turned around, and jumped out of Uchiha. What the hell is buried under the Uchiha family? The ghost calls the ghost a ghost. Laugh to death. Detonating charm? Have money to burn? Bury such expensive detonating charms in the ground. No matter how Black Zetsu broke through the defenses, the Uchiha family did use potato mines to completely block the evil spirit they thought was from outside their home. 3 months after the potato mines were planted, summer arrived. Anjuro was observing this year's cabbage harvest with people from the agricultural department when Mao Mao flew over with the message Izuna left in his eyes. Zingjuro, Zingjuro, come with me. Follow me. Uncle, I'm leaving first. Go quickly. It's important for the clan leader. After hurriedly saying goodbye, Xingqiu Lang followed Mao Mao all the way to the outskirts of the clan area, where a large number of potato mines were planted. Izuna and Taijima are here, and there are also several patrolling Dai Uchiha. Taijima saw his grandnephew coming and quickly explained the current situation. Half of the potato mines that were planted have popped up on the ground today. Izuna added, this is not only true for those on the periphery, but also for potato mines planted in other places in the clan's land. What's going on? Anjuro replied, they are ripe. Does it mature so quickly? How do you pick it? Zingjuro demonstrated by picking up the small red fruit on the top of the potato mine, shaking it slightly, and using his skill to pull the entire potato mine out of the ground. He shook the soil off the potato mines and explained, if you don't dig it out, it will be buried back in the ground tomorrow, and then start to divide and multiply. It should be divided into 3, and then each one will be like the potato mine I just summoned with a small red fruit. It will explode if you hit it from the ground. If you pull it out, it won't explode, and the part that was originally buried in the ground can still be eaten. Anjuro remembered the potato stew he had eaten before and secretly swallowed. Dai Uchiha of the patrol team at the side suddenly thought, wait a minute, if these splintered potato mines are very close together, if one of them explodes, will it cause the surrounding ones to explode as well? Meeting, then you can't plant them too close. If they all explode, the Uchiha clan will be razed to the ground. Taijima immediately ordered to go down. Pick some of these potato mines that have emerged, and ensure that the distance between each potato mine is more than 1 meter from each other. Your patrol team should always pay attention to this matter, and pick the potato mines in time when they are discovered. Yes, Patriarch, after finally arranging the time bomb buried under the Uchiha, which they had buried themselves, everyone returned home carrying a few potato mines. How do you eat this? Rhizomes, probably similar to sweet potatoes? Then cook it first. It doesn't have any sweet taste. Potatoes without sweetness were not very popular with the Uchiha. Think about it from another perspective. It has no flavor on its own, which means it can be made into any flavor. Uncle, I'll come. As soon as he heard that there were new dishes, Jalama, who had been hiding somewhere and was lazing around, also came out. It really likes Anjuro's cooking skills. Kid, what kind of meat do you need? I'll go hunting now. Thank you, Jalama. I want pork, preferably a younger pig. Leave it to me. Jalama ran away with his 4 paws and came back with a wild boar in his mouth 20 minutes later. Here, a young pig that has just grown up. The meat is very tender. Okay. Kyojuro rolled up his sleeves and began to prepare. First, cut the pork belly into thick slices and put it in the pot. Add sliced ginger and the green part of the green onion. Then cover it with water and simmer for an hour and a half. A lot of fat from the pork belly was stewed out, and a layer of fat floated on the broth. A light poke with chopsticks can penetrate the pork belly. Take out the pork belly and wash it. Pour out the broth, and ask Mori and Linglong who came to eat to help cool the broth to make the fat clump. Take out the white lard on the top, and the broth below presents a swaying semi-solid state. Cut off the top red fruit of the potato mine. Dig out the small part below the red fruit, and then use a knife to scrape off the outer skin that is in contact with the soil, and then cut it into dice. Put lard in the pot, fry the potatoes first, and use the broth you just got. Mix sugar, miso, mirin, and a little wine, and mix them evenly. Then add the seasoned broth and water to the pot where the potatoes are fried, half and half, and add the pork belly that has been cooked soft. Cover the lid and stew. During the period, you can use chopsticks to gently poke the potatoes to test whether they are cooked. In order to make the color look good, when it is about to be served, Kyojuro also added some cabbage cubes that have just been picked. When all the ingredients are cooked, they can be eaten. Everyone added a piece of potato together and tried it tentatively. 5 ants. The potato is full of gravy, even better than the meat itself. The thick slices of pork belly are very soft to eat, and one bite can satisfy people's energy needs. The salty, sweet, and fragrant taste is unexpectedly delicious. Mori scooped a few spoonfuls of soup and poured on the rice. The soup of the potato stew was much thicker than that of ordinary stews. Oh, I see. Part of the potato melted into the soup during the stewing process. 5 ants. Obviously, Mori, who often came to eat, was also assimilated by Kyojuro. Linglong picked up a large piece of cabbage. Because it was added just before the pot, the cabbage had both the meaty aroma and its crisp taste. Delicious. It would be delicious if you put some radish in it. I can't believe that potatoes and meat are so delicious when stewed together, and they can also fill your stomach. But the soft texture should not be used for stir-frying. I don't know, but Mrs. Mikiko and Ling should be very happy this time. Mikiko and Ling are indeed very happy, because this time they finally have new ingredients that can let them show their skills. The leaf umbrella summoned before cannot be eaten, but made them lost for a long time. Mikiko stroked the round body of Potato Landmine. Chapter 47 Kagaya tries to join the group chat as for the development of other potato byproducts. After the potato mines matured and were picked, they gradually got on the right track. After all, they're all skilled workers. The basic development ideas refer to corn and peas, 2 foods that can be cooked and satiated. The 6th elder Boyan figured out a potato product that could be stored for a long time: potato flour, U00, 3D potato starch. The production process of corn flour is similar to that of corn flour. Powder the cleaned potatoes, filter and precipitate, and dry the resulting precipitate to obtain it. Even the equipment needed in the production process does not need to be bought new. However, although it can be preserved, it cannot be directly made into a staple food like cornmeal. Boyan took a bite of freshly baked potatoes and sighed. Fresh potatoes are still delicious, but the storage time is too short. In a dry and cool place, it can only be stored for a few months. Any longer, and the harvested potato mines will turn black and shriveled. Xing Zhulong also held the charcoal roasted potatoes and ate them deliciously. Anyway, potato mines mature once every 3 months, so it doesn't matter if they can't be stored, right? That's right. Boyan showed off the last bite of potatoes and patted the black ash on his hands. Let's go. Let's go to Xiaoling's house for dinner today. When he thought of his nephew's wife's excellent craftsmanship, Boyan felt that he could still work for another 20 years. Today is the 2nd birthday of Meiyu from the Xiaoling family. Did Xing Shura bring gift? And Juro patted the ninjutsu bag tied around his waist. I brought it with me, the crystal forehead protector made by my uncle and grandpa. Taijima smashed the crystal ball. He did it right, but it's of no use anyway. It's shiny, and even a little girl can like it. Hey, this is the crystal ball of the Kingdom of Ghosts. Senju Hashirama held up the fragment in his hand and looked at the sun. This is the first time I've seen this. It's so flashy. I'm blind. I told you not to look at the sun. Uchiha stood beside Senju Hashirama with his hands in his hands and complained. Senju Hashirama covered his eyes that were shaken and jumped up a few times, tears streaming down his face. Shouldn't this thing be very precious? Why did your father smash this? It's useless. If you smash it, it can be used as a decoration. After hearing this, Senju Hashirama silently raised his thumb. Uchiha so rich. By the way, Madara, why did you call me out this time? Uchiha Madara was speechless. You should pay more attention to your family's business. Tachibana wants the 3 of us to meet for a meeting. Ha ha. Senju Hashirama laughed twice and scratched his hair guiltily. Tobarama is in charge of this part. Uchiha Madara rolled his eyes, Senju Tobarama is your brother. How can you let your brother do the work? Tobarama wants to do it himself. So, of course, I, the elder brother, must support him. Senju Hashirama quickly pretended to be serious. What? For that textile factory, because of the defensive fabrics previously produced by the Tachibana family. Although the nobles bought some after hearing that this fabric had a certain defensive effect, none of them took the protective effect mentioned in the Tachibana family's advertisement to heart. To put it bluntly, it is just a layer of cloth. No matter how good the defense effect is, so what? Therefore, this kind of comfortable, soft, and breathable fabric is treated as ordinary fabric. Some people simply cut the fabric and make themselves a pair of pajamas. But recently, a noble family had a flood, and the noble had no injuries at all except for a piece of his hair being singed. Several neighbors nearby were shocked and quickly asked how the nobleman survived. That fire completely burned the west side of their house. The noble wiped the ashes from his face with lingering fear and pulled out the corner of the inner garment from the collar. The material of the garment there was not blackened or yellowed at all, and was still as white as new, as if it had just come from the cloth shop. When I got it back, it looked like it hadn't experienced a fire at all. Thankfully, I'm wearing the fabric I bought from Tachibana's house today. Otherwise, I would probably be buried in a sea of fire. He was right next door to the fire, and even during the process of escaping, the flames ignited the outside of his robe. After he calmed down from the panic, he realized that he didn't feel burned at all, and there was not even a red streak on his skin. No trace at all. The embarrassment he looks now is all due to the black ash he picked up during his escape and the smoke he choked on. The people who came to help put out the fire were all in disbelief when they heard the nobleman's story. But whether they believed it or not, this nobleman had become a loyal user of this special fabric from the Tachibana family. After narrowly escaping from death, he immediately ran to Tachibana's house and bought a few more pieces of fabric. He would rather spend more money than replace all the underwear of himself and his family with this special fabric. Tachibana's special fabric can save your life. After this incident, the name of the special fabric spread from one person to another, and everyone in the family who had some spare money and cherished their lives waved their gold and silver to buy a piece and a half of the fabric. Of course, the Tachibana family must also be very aware of current affairs and sent the palace more than a dozen pieces of higher-grade special cloth, with more leaf, umbrella fibers mixed in. Tachibana, don't forget that the person above your head may be a thigh or even a sharp blade. The better the Tachibana family's business is doing, the more jealous the Fire Fong family will be. As the youngest son of the Fire Nation daimyo Enichi Akira grew up, the two became tit-for-tat in the court. There are a lot of students in the Hinokata family, and there are also quite a few in Tachibana's family. Under the deliberate balance of the Fire Nation daimyo, the factions represented by the two were fighting fiercely in the court. Under the guidance of Uchiha and Tachibana Junpei, Tachibana Masakazu did his own thing seriously and pretended to be a pure minister. In the eyes of Fire Fongja, what is a pure minister? It is clear that Tachibana Masato and his son-in-law and adopted son are not of the same mind as Tachibana Jiping. He laughed hard at Tachibana Junpei behind his back. Ridiculing him for choosing such a successor is not equivalent to giving up the century-old foundation of the Tachibana family and its position in the court to others. The ridicule of the Hinokata family has never had any impact on the Tachibana family. It would be better to say that they are happy to see the Hinokata family be satisfied with their ambitions. Masakazu Tachibana took the opportunity to get closer to many Sumomi who had nothing to do with the Fire Party or Tachibana family and only liked to do practical things. These people only do their own thing and are only loyal to the daimyo. Since both the Fire Party and Tachibana factions had lost a lot of manpower, the Fire Country daimyo took the opportunity to promote many of these pure ministers who only did practical things. Among them, Tachibana Masakazu, who was the most capable, also took the opportunity to be promoted to a higher level. Since the Uchiha tribe could not enter, they would be bombed if they entered, so Black Zetsu could only stay outside and wait for the opportunity quietly. It's okay, 1,000 years have passed, not less than these few months. He can afford to wait. Black Zetsu persuaded himself skillfully and then continued to squat outside the Uchiha house. It happened that at this time, Tachibana Jinpei sent someone to meet with Senju and Uchiha to re-sign the cooperation agreement. Due to the explosion of special fabrics, the three of them need to redivide their responsibilities and distributed interests. Since then, a stable cooperative relationship has been formed in which Uchiha provides raw materials, Senju family provides equipment, and Tachibana family is responsible for production and sales. The Senju family ensured that the equipment provided to Tachibana was the only one in the country. In addition to paying for the equipment design drawings, they could also get an additional 10% profit. In addition, the maintenance of equipment and the congestion of rivers caused by the use of water to turn large spinning wheels also need to be handled by the Senju family. These two tasks will be jointly paid by Tachibana and Uchiha. Uchiha wanted to ensure the supply of raw materials. The Tachibana family used 30% of the profits to tie Uchiha, the raw material supplier, to the Tachibana family. Tachibana, we can't let Uchiha leave Tachibana alone. Otherwise, Tachibana's current situation will be destroyed in a minute. However, this can be regarded as Tachibana Jihei's own plan for a rainy day. The Uchiha clan is currently quite satisfied with Tachibana as a partner. In addition, Masakazu and Reika's son has been born, and there is a high probability that he will awaken to Sharingan. So they can also consider Tachibana's family as a partner. Seen as half one of our own, the Tachibana family is responsible for production and sales, accounting for the lion's share of profits. But they have also taken the initiative to make concessions and allow all Tachibana family stores that sell special fabrics to have Uchiha clerks. This is equivalent to the Tachibana family taking the initiative to disclose the profits from the sale of special fabrics to Uchiha. Heiju hid underground and eavesdropped the entire time. Heiju did not need food or clothing. Heiju, who lived underground and traveled underground, could not understand what they were talking about. I really don't know what's worth discussing about just a piece of cloth. These young ninjas are simply outrageous. When he sighed, Uchiha Madara and Uchiha Taijima looked at each other from a distance. Father, Enjuro said, "That ghost is nearby. Do you want to take action? Be calm and don't be impatient. If the enemy doesn't move, I won't move. Take good care of Xing Zhulong." Yes. After the meeting with the Tachibana family, Senju and Uchiha moved their positions and called Kagaya again. In the open space in the center of the three families, the three clan heads will sign a friendly agreement not to attack each other under the joint witness of the three clan members. Among them, the main thing is that Senju and Kagaya need to reach a tacit agreement not to attack each other. After all, they won't take action against Uchiha now, unless they don't want to get the money. As two families that may join forces in the future to deal with tasks issued by Uchiha, it is necessary to lay the foundation for cooperation now. Kagaya Yoshiyuki was simply amazed when he saw Senju and Uchiha coming together today. Ever since I saw the uniform and flag of the Senju clan standing next to the Uchiha clan, my sighs have never stopped. It turns out that the legend in the ninja world about the handshake and peace talks between the Uchiha and Senju families is true. The Kagaya are now witnessing history. Kagaya also has a share in this peace negotiation. Ha 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 ha. Their Kagaya successfully leads all the ninja clan in the entire ninja world except Senju and Uchiha. They Kagaya are the strongest, the third strongest. Once the agreement was signed, it was natural that Senjuboma and Kagaya Yoshiyuki would inevitably have to fight. Although it was useless in name, they had a higher position as the leader of the alliance. After all, they just don't attack or interfere with each other, and they don't have a close cooperative relationship. There is even a hint of competition, because they all have to compete for the tasks issued by Uchiha. Since reaching cooperation with the Uchiha family, the Senju clan has completely realized the joy of not having to do killing tasks. Not only is the atmosphere in the tribe relaxed, but the attrition rate of the tribe members is also reduced, and medical expenses and funeral expenses are plummeting. With such a rise and fall, the money left at the end of each year is much more than before. Because of the commission from the Uchiha family, Other merchants or ordinary families are more willing to entrust the Senju family when they see that they can accept and complete the commissions from the Uchiha family, which they had a grudge against before, and even the delivered goods can be guaranteed in quality and quantity. Now, the industry of the Senju family is mainly divided into three parts. The first is wood processing. With the advantage of wood escape, the wood provided by the Senju is stronger and more durable than other wood on the market. It can even be waterproof, moisture-proof, fireproof, and insect-proof. The second is herbal medicine, which is also the main business of the Senju family. Combined with their medical ninjutsu, some difficult and complicated diseases can basically be cured. The third is the mechanical research and development of the new department led by Senju Tobarama. However, this is a secret within the Senju family, and currently only provides services to the Uchiha and Tachibana families. Senju Fusama. I didn't expect that these strange things made by my second son could be sold at such a high price. Shouldn't the clan offer courses to train more Senju who can do these things? When the Kagaya clan first signed a cooperation agreement with the Uchiha clan, it was only to obtain the special medicine developed by the Uchiha clan for their corpse bone veins. But after the agreement was signed, they gradually realized the joy of following the big boss. The big boss ate meat, and they drank soup. Because the Kagaya clan generally has strong combat capabilities, although they are a bit stupid, they are obedient. Therefore, the Uchiha clan's current escort mission for ordinary goods has basically become led by the Uchiha, and the other team members are half Uchiha and half Kagaya, or all Kagaya clan members. As for those special goods that Kagaya cannot know, of course, the Uchiha clan members are still responsible. The Uchiha clan members who withdrew chose to cultivate a certain profession, so that the Uchiha clan can have a small foothold in every corner of the continent as much as possible. For this escort mission alone, the Kagaya clan can already support the elderly, weak, women, and children of the entire clan with a guaranteed salary, not counting commissions. Because the Uchiha caravans are really frequent, and the currently developed transport routes include the 4 countries of Fire Country, Lightning Country, Wind Country, and Water Country, the basic task money is set very high each time, and a small bonus will be issued after the goods are successfully transported. In addition, those young Kagaya people who run caravans can also take the opportunity to sell goods in the south to the north, and they can also make some money. So in the eyes of the Kagaya people, the position of the leader of the alliance is a fight between the 2 clans to be the most trusted ninja clan of the Uchiha. For this title, Kagaya Kyuki is determined to get it. He sent his son to the Uchiha family, and he didn't believe that the Senju family could be as courageous as him. Chapter 48, Whose Child Is This? Since there is a fight, of course the ninja will be under his command. The formation was opened, and the members of the Senju and Kagaya families stood facing each other, leaving an open space in the middle. Senju Budama and Kagaya Yoshiyuki stood face to face in the open space. Since they still have a cooperative relationship in the future, they cannot fight too hard. The 2 of them restrained themselves in a tacit understanding and only used physical skills, sword skills, and small-scale ninjutsu to compete. As for the other tribesmen who followed them and stood outside the clearing, they mainly acted as an atmosphere group. Come on, clan leader, give Senju some colors to see. Since receiving Uchiha's treatment, Kagaya Yoshiyuki's figure has gradually become more and more slender and stronger. He bumped his 2 fists together and showed a ferocious smile. Bring it on. Kagaya Yoshiyuki showed a confident smile. The person opposite is not Medushi. He is very confident. The number 1 position in Uchiha's heart, the Kagaya, are bound to win. Thousand-armed Buddha smiled and crossed his arms. It seems that the Sanjus have not gone out to do missions recently, causing the Kagaya clan to feel a little drifting. Thousand-armed Buddha is very good at physical skills. When he hits a bull-sized fist with strange power, it can directly break the ground. Kagaya Yoshiyuki is wearing the white battle uniform of the Kagaya clan, with white strips of cloth standing up on both sides of his hair and a surging fighting spirit in his eyes. Clan chief, you can definitely do it. Clan leader, kill that old man from the Senju family who only knows how to chew his son. The Kagaya clan members even took out their bones and knocked them around. But there was still a strange rhythm. The Thousand Hands clan members also started bragging about their clan leader crazily. Our clan leader is the most powerful. If my son is strong, I will be stronger. Kagaya shouted back in dissatisfaction. Our clan leader's bones are extremely hard. It's not like he was punched to pieces by our clan leader. Our clan leader's body skills are awesome. That's why we were beaten by our clan leader until he ran away with his head in his arms. When the two tribes were trash-talking each other, the final result between Senjibutama and Kagaya Yoshiyuki was that Senjibutama had a slight upper hand. Neither of them made a killing move, so it was enough to decide the winner by just hitting the point. Although Kagaya Yoshiyuki wanted to fight again, he was stopped by Uchiha Taijima. Uchiha, don't worry, it's just a name. Our families will definitely be close in the future. Kagaya, brother, I believe in you. Playing a friendly match with others under the watchful eyes of old rivals, it feels awkward to fight among thousand-armed Buddhas. But just when Senju Buddha wanted to pull Kagaya Yoshiyuki to show friendship between the two clans, Kagaya Yoshiyuki was shocked. His pupils instantly turned black, and he suddenly fired from behind in the direction where Uchiha Taijima was sitting. A bone spur came out. All the ninjas present were shocked. What's going on with Kagaya? Seeking death at this time? Will the cooperation be cancelled before it is reached? The shot bones hit Taijima at a tricky angle. Taijima calmly slapped the table and turned it to the left, dodging it lightly. Oh, he knew that because the fierce ghost could not enter the Uchiha clan, he would never let go of this opportunity for him to leave the clan. Uchiha Kyojuro, who had been guarding the perimeter, also moved the moment the demon took action. He carefully sensed the breath wandering in the land, predicted the route the demon would take to escape from Kagaya Yoshiyuki in advance, and held the explosive knife float. Stabs downward, breath of fire. 6 types. Fireworks. The flames spread with crackling explosions. Black Zetsu jumped out injured, staring at the weird-smelling Uchiha brat in front of him in shock. This guy can actually cause real damage? Xingjiang's eyes immediately lit up when he saw this dark thing showing its true form. There is an entity. Can cut. He gripped the explosive sword tightly and chased after him. He executed every move, and Black Zetsu fled all over the place. Every time he tried to escape, the same ghost in the Uchiha clan would burst out of him. Finally, he saw Taijima, who was still sitting on the chair leisurely. Well done, Uchiha. Uncle Grandpa. Xingjiang ignored his family's previous instructions and rushed out with a knife. Seeing that the breath of flames did not stop the furious Black Zetsu for a moment and rushed straight towards Uchiha Taijima, Kyojuro felt his eyes heat up, and he was so blessed that he formed a hand seal in his soul. Call. Nut wall. Black Juabong hit the nut wall with a loud sound. Uchiha Taijima still stood up and wanted to jump. The moment he saw the nut wall, he wiped his face. Oh, it's over. The whole place was silent, and everyone present couldn't believe their eyes. Are they under a mass illusion? Otherwise, how would it be possible to see an Uchiha child using would release? Kagaya Yoshiyuki pinched himself hard, turned around, and asked Senju Buddha, then what? Your Senju clans would release is so short? As soon as these words came out, the 1,000 hands were stagnant in place reacted instantly. Senju wow, would escape. This is Senju's fucking doll. Why are you wearing the Uchiha uniform? Despicable Uchiha. Other Uchiha who can see Kyojuro. Kyujuro's eyes are open. Oha! Mudun was exposed. How could I make the 1,000 hands opposite me lose my memory? No matter how many different thoughts the ninjas have in their hearts, Black Zetsu is still seriously escaping. After he was bounced off the nut wall, he also noticed something was wrong with the child behind him. Not only can the knife in his hand cause real damage to him, but he also has a hand that can defend against his would escape. Damn, Uchiha is really good. They can even make a hybrid of the two families. Black Zetsu didn't want to attack Uchiha Taijima anymore. Saving his life was the most important thing. He immediately took advantage of the opportunity when everyone was brainstorming, endured the burning feeling on his body, and rushed into the position where the Senju family stood. He shuttled through the land under the feet of the Senju people and finally escaped from this area. Kyojuro held a knife to block between Uchiha Taijima and the evil spirit. Seeing that the evil spirit had no intention of attacking and turned to escape, in order to cut the grass and eliminate the root of the trouble, he also wanted to continue chasing. Uchiha Madara, stop Kyojuro. Stop first, be careful. Kyojuro obediently sheathed the knife. Uncle, are you okay? The Senju looked at the Uchiha beside him with a grin. Let's talk. What's going on? Uncle? It seems that this kid is the son of Uchiha Taijima's nephew. Uchiha Taijima used a scroll to collect the nut wall in front of him and walked to Kyojuro under everyone's fiery gazes. Congratulations, you've opened your eyes. He put his hand on Kyojuro's shoulder, winked at the tribesman, and then Uchiha Taijima directly opened Susanoo to cover himself and Kyojuro, and then run. Senju, despicable Uchiha. Hashirama, stop them. Senju Hashirama was shocked and hurriedly performed wood release, trying to use tree vines to stop Uchiha Taijima, who was fleeing with the baby, but for some reason, the trees he summoned would suddenly wither as soon as they approached the baby within 20 meters. Senju Hashirama, or as Uchiha Taijima looked at the Senju who were chasing him closely and said decisively, ban. Another Susanoo appeared out of thin air. Uchiha Madara controlled his four Susanoo hands, merged the giant sword, and aimed at his old father's Susanoo shell. Swing! Go! Uchiha Taijima immediately shrank his Susanoo shell and compressed it into a sphere. With the force of Uchiha Madara, he took off on the spot and flew straight towards the direction of the Uchiha clan. The Senju looked back at Uchiha Madara, who was still in the Susanoo shell, in disbelief. Uchiha Madara looked back at him condescendingly, without any guilt. Senju Hashirama gritted his teeth. Go. Home. When both clans were gone, seeing that something was wrong, the Kagayas who had hidden it the first time also poked their heads out. We are witnessing history. Kyojuro, who was held in his uncle's arms, blinked his dry eyes and realized what had just happened. Now the chaotic scene was far away from him, and he could slowly sort out his thoughts. First, he found the evil spirit. Although he didn't have the Sunblade, his sword moves were useful to him. Second, the plants he summoned could resist the evil spirit's attack. Third, I opened my eyes. Uchiha Taijima looked at the Sunjus who were getting farther and farther away and smaller, and rubbed Kyojuro's little face in a good mood. Yes, congratulations, Kyojuro. You are officially on the road to becoming a strong man. Kyojuro cheered excitedly. Great. Then he blinked twice and naturally closed his Sharingan. You have a strong comprehension ability, and you will be able to close it soon. Remember to find the fifth elder to learn how to maintain the Sharingan when you go back. Okay, Kyojuro asked. Uncle, why are the Senju so excited? Kyojuro knew that he could summon plants because of the golden finger given by Ruha's mother. Although the tribe members thought it would escape, he knew it was not, so he didn't understand why the Senju acted as if he was the blood of their family. Uchiha Taijima laughed dryly. You have to ask your father when you go back. The wild love story of the younger generation, he, as an elder, didn't know either. Don't mention it. Uchiha Madara's force on his old father's Susanoo shell was just right, just enough to allow Taijima and Kyojuro to land near the tribe, and the gate of the tribe was just a few steps away. When they returned to Uchiha, the Uchiha tribe members who stayed in the tribe also knew a lot. Kyojuro opened his eyes. Good thing, Kyojuro's wood release was actually exposed in front of the Senju family. The worst thing, Taijima stuffed Kyojuro into Koichi's arms, ran to the meeting with the clan members leisurely, and left all the explanation work to Koichi. Koichi looked at his son's big eyes with a guilty conscience. Seeing his father's posture, Kyojuro also had a premonition. He hugged his father, who looked very entangled. Dad, it's okay, you are my dad. After receiving his son's hug, Uchiha Koichi's desire to tell a story +1. Your mother is indeed a Senju. After the first difficult sentence was said, the rest of the content did not seem so difficult to say. Uchiha Howie simply took out juice and snacks from the kitchen cupboard and the father and son gathered together to eat and chat. She is the aunt of the wood escape master of the Senju family. Kyojuro drank the juice, and by the way, he thought about the identity of his mother in this life. Would escape master U00, 3D Senju Hashirama U00, 3D Madara's good friend? Then, the wood escape master will call Madara Uncle. Uchiha Koichi smiled. What's the point? Your mother, like you, is a person who can bring sunshine and smiles to others. His eyes gradually became distant. 10 years ago, his father Yinsi had just passed away. He finished his father's funeral in a daze, as if his soul had been sucked out of him. He was so confused that he had no idea what he was doing. To him, his father is an insurmountable mountain, a requirement that can never be met, and a gaze that constantly spurs him on. How he felt that his father was probably dissatisfied with his son, but his father still had the love of hoping that he could become a strong man and survive the fighting. Maybe it's love, but after his father died, he could never satisfy his father. I have gritted my teeth and insisted on achieving the goal that I wanted to achieve for 18 years, but it will never be achieved. Second, Uncle Taijima saw him staying at home alone, facing the things his father had used. As if he was afraid that he would not be able to think about it, he specifically dug out a task from the task pile to go to the Uchiha shop in Yuno country to garrison. How he understood that this was the second uncle's hidden concern, so he went too. The days in Yuno Kuni are very slow, surrounded by tourists, and the overall atmosphere is leisurely and comfortable. Although it was said that he was stationed, there was actually nothing that Hao needed to do. He just sat under the eaves of the corridor every day, looking at the sky, flowers, clouds, and moon. Because there is no one, Howie's suppressed entanglement, self-blame, and difficulty in accepting his father's death are all lingering with his own unknown tears. Dad, Enjuro is very worried about you. JPG How he touched his son's hair and said, at that time, it was just because Dad couldn't think about it for a moment. It's better now. However, I still let your grandpa down. Failed to be a good Uchiha. Enjuro shook his head fiercely. Dad, everyone is born with different talents. If you can forge swords and invent equipment that the clan needs, even civilians without chakra can use those equipment. You are an excellent Uchiha. How he was happy. What you said is exactly the same as what your mother said. Does she know you are an Uchiha? She doesn't know. How he couldn't help laughing, remembering the interesting things about the two of them getting along. She always thought that I was a young aristocrat who was in poor health and was educated in the kingdom of Tang. Even though I have so many flaws, she decided that I was a weak aristocrat. Question mark. Xingjiang tilted his head. Dad, you have calluses on your hands and scars on your body. You don't walk like a noble pretending to be weak, so? His mother actually doesn't recognize him? How he thought about it and said tactfully, your mother likes my face better. Enjuro understood. How he was afraid that Xingjiang might have some strange impression of Xing. So he added, maybe it was because when we met, the first impression I left on her was too deep, and she didn't change it after that. Back then, he was looking at the moon. When he saw the moon, he remembered the clan legends his father had told him before, and Hao's eyes were filled with tears again. At this time, a ninja suddenly jumped out from the next yard. He wanted to stand up to defend himself, but he didn't want to eat for more than a day. He was a little dizzy. He felt dizzy just as he stood up. He could only hold on to the pillar and break out in cold sweat. And that ninja is Senju Anzu. Chapter 49, This is My Baby. If the Uchiha clan is steadily seeking victory, then the Senju clan is in a state of turmoil. Almost as soon as they saw the child's wouldn't escape, the Senju family was sure. This is definitely Senju's cub. Look at that strong body, the raised corners of the mouth, the bright and friendly eyes. It is absolutely impossible for those Uchihas who spend their whole life looking at people with their nostrils, either mockingly or sneeringly, give birth to a baby like this. As soon as Senju Xing came back from outside, she was pulled by Senju Momo, who looked excited. Xing, what a pity you didn't go to the scene today. What? What happened to the scene? Senju Xing took out the dried meat from his pocket and gave a handful to Senju Muka. The two of them found a secret corner and started gossiping. Senju Momo looked around warily, lowered her voice. In the Uchiha family, there's a doll that uses would escape. Kianza Shing's whole body was filled with excitement. Damn it, it can't be her son. She hurriedly controlled her expression and maintained her surprise at the passers-by, eating melon. Real or fake? Mudan. Yes. At first, the clan thought it was Uchiha who had picked up the bloodline of our clan that was wandering outside. But when the child turned around, his eyes were Sharingan. Then it must be someone from our family secretly having the baby with the Uchiha family. Is it possible that one of the older boys in our family deceived the Uchiha girl? Kianju Taohua slapped her thigh. It must have been born to the eldest girl in our family. That child is called Uncle Uchiha, the patriarch of the Uchiha clan. He is the son of a nephew of the Uchiha clan leader. The leader of the Uchiha clan only has one nephew who has not yet entered the 5th server. Senju Shing suddenly realized the great beauty and Uchiha Madara are such close cousins. No wonder they look alike. Senju Muka stretched out her hand and waved in front of Senju Anzu, who suddenly became silent. Shing? Shing? Hello? Are you still there? Yes. So now the clan has found out who gave birth to her? No. Your brother is going crazy. Zaya was scolded for not snatching that little doll back. Now, the clan is looking at the previous mission records to see who in the clan can have it at that time. Make time to have a baby. All this. Senju Shing turned around and wanted to leave, but forcefully controlled her feet that were ready to start. Running at this time make her feel even more guilty. Sister-in-law, you are here. Ah, it's Tobarama. Kian Shu Feijing grabbed his sister-in-law and dragged her home. What is Tobarama? Goodbye, Sister Muka. Father is looking for you. What does he want from me? Kianja Shing pretended to be confused. Something big happened in our clan, and my father is checking the task list to find someone. Tobarama pressed the vein on his forehead. Just get used to it. If your little aunt was reliable, she wouldn't have been urged to get married by her father for more than 10 years. Sister-in-law, I remember that 9 years ago, you seem to have been spending a year outside with a bunch of tasks, right? Senju Shing tilted her head. Is this happening? Maybe. It's been too long and I don't remember it. It was 10 years ago. Of course I remember that she stayed outside the clan to have a baby, but she definitely couldn't tell Tobarama. My nephew is good at everything, but he is too talkative. If he knew about it, he would probably be talked about until he died. Really? Tobarama narrowed his eyes seriously. Tobarama, your eyes are already small, and they will become even smaller like this. Senju Shing complained mercilessly. I got you. Shing, don't run. As soon as she entered the house, Senju Shing was caught by the Senju Buddha who was guarding here. I don't want to run away. Brother, please let go. If I let go now, you will definitely run away. Thousand-armed Buddha Jian was so angry that his sister was pretending to be stupid. Pregnant out of wedlock. Or with people outside the clan. I didn't even tell my brother that I had a baby, just left it to the man to raise. Is his brother so untrustworthy? Do you know, we Senju have lost a wood release. Senju Shing's anger also came up. At first, she didn't expect that she could get pregnant with just one shot. What would she do if she couldn't beat her when she was older? It doesn't matter if I gave birth to him. Just because of your attitude, brother, I would rather let Uchiha raise the child. Now that it has been revealed that this child is Mudan, you think he is valuable and you want to snatch him back. What if this child is not Mudan and is just an ordinary ninja who cannot open his eyes? Will you look at him one more time? I'm afraid that if I wasn't born, I would be left to be raised by your clan members outside. You are still like that. You only have cold interests in your eyes. Qian Jixing was so angry that she was trembling all over. She recalled the time when her sister-in-law died because of giving birth to Wama, and when Banji and Wama died because of the failure of the mission. Thousand Hen Buddha, Jin, punched the stone table in his courtyard, and the stone table fell to the ground. Then you shouldn't get involved with Uchiha. Senju Anzu immediately yelled back. I didn't even know he was an Uchiha when I was with him. You are the one who truly leads the entire clan to accept Uchiha. That's enough. If we don't form an alliance, can you really attack your own son? I can, just like you. Senju Shing dropped a word coldly and turned to leave. Aunt Tobarama, don't stop her. Let her go. Thousand-armed Buddha stood on the spot and clenched his fists, showing no intention of pursuing him. Senju Anzu ran for several kilometers, wandering around in the forest, found the tallest tree in the forest, and settled on it without moving. Although she said that during the quarrel, Senju Anzu actually supported the clan and signed a friendship contract with Uchiha. Not just Uchiha, but with any other ninja clan. Just like what Tobarama said the night Wajima died. Only by agreeing to form an alliance can this endless war be avoided. But what Tobarama wants is an alliance with the Senju Supreme, while she and Hashirama want an alliance of equal cooperation. The supremacy of 1,000 hands is simply the same concept as the 1,000-hand Buddha. She just hated Senju Buddha's face of sacrificing everything for the sake of Senju. Her sister-in-law was such a good person, and she always treated her as a mother. In order to give birth to Hashirama, that would escape her, her body was exhausted. Before she could raise her, she gave birth to Tobarama, Wama, and Itama one after another, and finally died in the delivery room. There was also the death of Wama and Itama. It was clear that Senju could not accept the task of fighting the Uchiha, and it was obvious that the elder brother could prevent children like Wama and Itama, who had just entered the battlefield, from entering such high-end battlefields. But he insisted on going his own way, and after killing his 2 sons, he actually said that this was the way a qualified ninja should die. If he wants to die, he can die by himself. He actually let a child go to the battlefield and kept talking about the glory of ninja. Pooh, that's why they quarreled at that time, because of Xiao Zhujian's accusation. And that's why he took Xiao Zhujian out to gamble in order to let him relax. In the end, he was caught by his elder brother, and he insisted on making him kneel in the ancestral hall. So he made a fuss about it. 10 tasks went out to relax, and then met the fragile beauty of the Uchiha family, who was crying under the moon. That's why she slept with someone when she didn't know the details, because she needed an outlet. As a result, she was pregnant, but she didn't find out in time because she was busy with her liver duties. She couldn't abort it when she was older, so she had to give birth to the child. It wasn't until now, when Senju and Uchiha shook hands and made peace, that she realized that the man was an Uchiha. Oh shit, it's an indescribable mess. It's normal for family members to quarrel. Please don't take it too seriously. Senju Anzu sat in the tree and looked at the half-moon, and her fevered head slowly cooled down. Her son, whom she originally named Changsho Lang, should be 9 years old now. Although I was running all over the place when I was pregnant with him, the child might be a little malnourished when he was born, but judging from the way the eldest brother is about to die of anger today, the child should be very good now. 9 years old. When did the Uchiha family first start doing business? It seems like 7 or 8 years ago. Senju Anzu once again dissed her useless elder brother. In the hands of the Uchiha clan, would release can be played very well. In the hands of his elder brother, he is probably a fighting machine like Hashirama, a fighting machine that sacrifices everything for the Senju. Just go and see the longevity man. But she couldn't go by herself. Senjuan was afraid that she would be detained directly by Uchiha, and some ghost story would happen, such as Uchiha forcing her to have a few more children. She did what she said, sneaking back to the ancestral hall, and as expected, she found Hashirama sleeping with his arms and legs spread out inside. Can't there be some creativity in the location of my brother's confinement? Hashirama, Hashirama. Senju Anzu lowered her voice, and Hashirama woke up after hearing the sound, his eyes bleary. Well, sister-in-law, what's the matter? I'm going to Uchiha to see my son. You can come with me. Okay. Senju Hashirama skillfully placed a wooden clone to help him confine himself, and followed his sister-in-law out of the clan. Sister-in-law, is that really your son? Of course, I haven't seen that child grow up yet. Have you seen it? Does it look good? Senju Hashirama recalled. It looks good. It's also very approachable, and its movements are very clean and neat. How beautiful is this? This is simply a great beauty that perfectly combines Senju and Uchiha genes. Senju Xing strongly disliked her eldest nephew's literary quality, which was approaching 0. Look at the oval face and the high bridge of the nose. Those Uchiha-style slender eyebrows and shiny black coat. thousand-hand smiling lips and rosy cheeks. Wow, my son is so beautiful. Such a beautiful child was actually born to her. She's so awesome. Senju Anzu didn't even look twice before she was caught by the big Uchihas in the clan's mansion. Uchiha Taijima, Uchiha Madara's brother who rarely appears in front of people, and Uchiha Koichi. Tonight, no one could sleep in the patriarch's mansion except Anjuro. Uchiha Taijima spoke. Zinjuro's mother, want to talk. Senju Shing immediately took a step back and hid behind her eldest nephew. I'm just looking at my son as a person, and it doesn't involve Senju's attitude. Uchiha Taijima had this intention. Senju Bitsuma was nothing. As long as he could take care of the child's mother tonight, he was not afraid of Senju Bitsuma's jump. Okay, today does not involve the future relationship between Uchiha and the Senju clan. It is just a chat as relatives. Good. Senju Shing was stunned for a moment. Shinjuru. I originally named my child Changsho Lang, hoping that the child would not die young like Banjin Weijian. It seems that in order to let the child remember her, the beauty also filled in the apricot in her name. Senju In and Uchiha how met each other's eyes. How was shy but determined, and Anzu smiled cheerfully. Others, very durable and easy to fly. It was the first time in their lives that the two Senju spent the night at the Uchiha's house. Although they didn't sleep, it was a wonderful experience to watch the sunrise at the Uchiha's house. Sister-in-law, didn't you agree on everything last night? Even though you didn't let me listen, why do you still want to stay today? Senju Hashirama was full of energy and had a few moves with Uchiha Madara in the yard, feeling that all the fatigue from not sleeping last night had dissipated. Senju Shing said, I always want to see how my son's living environment is. Then, the two Senju were shocked and felt like they were being taught a hard lesson by Uchiha. Uchiha is really good at pampering children. Anjuro has his own handkerchief for washing his face and hands, special tableware, and meals that take into account his taste preferences. The clothes, handkerchiefs, and tableware on the body are all embroidered or painted with the symbol of a flame on the outside and the clan emblem on the inside. According to Koichi, this symbol was designed by Anjuro himself. Senjuin looked at the four big Uchihas outside, including the Kyubi who was considered a pet in the Uchiha family. Why are everyone so virtuous? After washing the child's face, they even have to apply floral-scented skincare oil. This is a new product that the family plans to launch. No wonder Uchiha has a tender face. Senju Shing thought about the way she raised her children. A big pot of food, self-reliance. As long as you don't starve to death, fighting and bumping into each other are commonplace. Take another look at Hashirama, who hasn't stopped talking while sitting in front of the meal. Fortunately, Anjuro was given to Koichi to raise. It's so delicate, you can't learn it on your own. Anjuro sat next to his father, secretly observing his mother in this life. Indeed, as his father said, she was a woman who made people feel close to her as soon as they saw her. Senju Shing noticed her son's gaze and felt a little uncomfortable. She silently took a sip of the miso soup. It was indeed delicious, and it was still salty and refreshing. It looked like the taste specially prepared by Hao-E. And this slimy side dish, I haven't tried it before, and I'll eat another 100 million mouthfuls of it. Mashed potatoes. After breakfast, Senju Anzu and Senju Hashirama stood up to say goodbye. The two of them had to rush back to the clan before they found the wooden clone in the ancestral hall among the thousand-armed Buddha. Senju Budama also reflected on it all night. Although his sister did indeed do something wrong, what he said emotionally was also wrong. Moreover, Hashirama did not stop the child, and he had not found out the information from Madara Uchiha in advance, and it was not from Hashirama. Question. So he came to the door of the ancestral hall, knocked on the door. Hashirama, get up and eat. Quiet, get up and eat. There is mushroom fried rice you like this morning. Quiet, I said get up and eat. Father, good morning. Senju Hashirama greeted his father refreshed and energetic, completely unable to tell that he had stayed up all night. Thousand-armed Buddha coughed. Are you awake? Then, wash your hands and eat. Where is your sister-in-law? I don't know, I didn't see it. At the dining table, Senju Hashirama looked at the generous portion of mushroom fried rice in front of him and covered his mouth with one hand. Hiccups. Chapter 50. The Kidnapper is here. Senju Hashirama risked being strangled to death and finally filled his stomach with a burst of paternal love from his guilty old father. Thousand-armed Buddha looked at his eldest son eating everything, thinking that his son must have accepted his apology, and asked, "What do you think of that kid yesterday?" Hiccup. Hiccup, I need to tell my sister-in-law, Hiccup, that my sister-in-law, Hiccup, is at least familiar with the father, Hiccup, of the child. Thousand-armed Buddha rubbed his hands together. His younger sister had a problem with him. They had a quarrel yesterday. It would be difficult to talk about it today. Hashirama and Tobarama, you two go ask your sister-in-law what she thinks, her real thoughts, and then we could discuss it. The clan definitely hopes that the child can be returned to the Senju, but seeing how closely Uchiha protects the child, it is almost impossible. But at the very least, the child must be willing to get close to the Senju. Know if they are our enemies. With this child communicating in the middle, our cooperation with Uchiha will be more in-depth in the future. Yes, father. What Tobarama was thinking was exactly the same as his father's. He even felt that the Uchiha family's endless new breeds and new products over the years were inseparable from that child. Hashirama curled his lips in his heart. After seeing how the Uchiha family pampered their children, he was a little speechless at his father's idea of scheming before he even got them involved. But after all, it was his father's own family, and he also wanted his family can prosper, so he agreed. Yes, father, but what if my sister-in-law says she wants to marry an Uchiha? Thinking of the affectionate look between his sister-in-law and Madara's cousin last night, Senju Hashirama couldn't help but ask one more question, thinking it was his nephew's filial piety towards his aunt. The thousand-armed Buddha waved his hands. Don't worry, it's absolutely impossible for your sister-in-law to get married. To be honest, I didn't expect her to be willing to have children. Just when Tobarama was at a loss as to where his sister-in-law was, Hashirama led him around the forest on the edge of the clan's territory with ease and found Senju apricot on an inconspicuous tree. Hey, let's be a lobbyist. Say it, I'll listen. Shing gave Hashirama a look, and Hashirama cleared his throat. Sister-in-law, we just want to know what you think. Do you really not want to recognize that child? The play is good. Senju Shing looked Hashirama up and down and said, You must admit it, but you can't force it. Even if we completely break up with Uchiha, regardless of our current cooperation, and we can really get the child back under Uchiha's strict defense and pursuit, can you be sure that the child can approval of Kyojuro? Don't end up taking home an enemy. Tobarama said, Sister-in-law, the clan hopes that the child can get close to the Senju. After all, you are his mother. Senju Shing impatiently hung herself upside down from the tree. Hey, stop it. Don't use this to tie me to that child. A mother I haven't seen since birth. Do you think there will be any feelings between us? Then what do you think we should do? Hashirama patted Tobarama and told him not to mention it. Senju Anzu kept hanging upside down and touched her chin. We have to play the emotional card. After all, the Uchiha clan has been getting along with that kid day and night for 9 years. We can't be in a hurry. Anyway, with this child as a bond, our cooperation with Uchiha cannot be broken. There is no doubt that Senju Anzu loves her family very much. But she also saw the importance Uchiha attached to this child this morning. The morning when Uchiha deliberately let her see the most ordinary Anjuro. There was no way the Uchiha would let go. Therefore, she must use her mother's identity to make the child willing to come to Senju, make the child develop a good impression of Senju in the shortest possible time, and be willing to fight for Senju's interests in Uchiha. Kyojuro Shing laughed at herself in her heart. After all, she's her eldest brother's biological sister. With his face of doing everything for profit, he is really a qualified Senju ninja. While the Senju family was having a meeting, the Uchiha family was also having a meeting. Uchiha Taijima had discussed several plans for this situation with the elders of the clan from yesterday evening to midnight. In other words, since the day Anjuro used would release, this matter has always been the focus of every meeting. Not an open topic. Now, no matter what Anjuro chooses, Uchiha has a corresponding response plan. What ultimately decides is Andrew's thoughts. The 5 people and 1 beast in the patriarch's house were sitting around a small table with snacks in the middle. Anjuro looked a little distracted. After all, last night, I suddenly found out that my mother was still alive. Not only was she alive, she was also a senju. I was even stared at by my mother all morning this morning. Anyone would have mixed emotions. Uchiha Taijima touched Andrew's hair with more than 20 plans behind him. Zingjuro, if you really don't want to see your mother clan, then don't. If you want to see you, we will definitely support you. Zingjuro definitely wanted to see his mother in this life. But he couldn't ignore the relationship between the clan and the senju. Although the relationship between the 2 clans had eased, there was still a gap between the clansmen. Uncle, I want to see her, I want to know her, and I also want to see what senju is like. Shingjuru's forehead hair that always flew up to both sides was a little droopy. But want to have any impact on the clan? You're still young, so you don't need to think about the clan. Taijima hugged his super caring grandnephew vigorously, feeling satisfied. With Anjuro's words, he knew that this child thought he was an Uchiha. You can meet if you want. Then we will discuss with Senju to see when you will go to Senju to live and when to go home to live. Or you can let Senju Anri come to Uchiha to live. Really, Xingjiang suddenly became energetic. As expected of an uncle, he even thought of feasible plans. So, what if I go to Senju and my plans are exposed? Taijima smiled confidently. It's okay. If it's exposed, it's exposed. The relevant industries in the clan are now established. Even if Senju knows that these plants are Shingjuru's abilities, he won't be able to do anything in 3 to 5 years. After finishing speaking, he turned back and rolled his eyes at how, look, it's all the fault of Koichi for the child's worries. It's hard to find anyone but Senju. Then he instantly returned to a smiling face and continued. Zingjuro is developing new moves, right? Go and compete with your cousin. Maybe he can give you some new inspiration. The unconditional support from his family made Anjuro burst into tears. Thank you, uncle. A family doesn't say thank you, Taijima added. But in order to prevent this Senju group from, well, detaining you, you still need to take your uncle Madara or 9 llamas with you. They will act as your bodyguards. Also, when you go, if you're unhappy in any way or miss us, just ask Mao Mao or Xiao Mei send a message home, and we'll pick you up immediately. Good, what to do? Black Jew was hiding in the underground cavity where he had been hiding. His whole body was fluctuating due to anxiety and panic. There is actually a Senju and Uchiha bloodline. Is he the Samsara Eye? Can he open the reincarnation eye? With this unexpected little kid, his 1,000-year plan suddenly came to nothing. No, if he can open the Samsara Eye, that is the most suitable container for his mother. He opened his Sharingan and would release. No, the little bastard can cause harm to himself. He is very wary of himself. There is no way for him to fool him into channeling the heretic golem. Kill him, get everything back on track. Kill him, let him die in Senju. Let Uchiha Izuna open the kaleidoscope. Let Uchiha Madara kill Senju Hashirama and gain his power, and work hard to open the reincarnation eye in order to resurrect this little brat. Let Mother come back to the world. Yes, kill him, and everything will be right. Kill him. The Senju family and the Uchiha family had another meeting. The topic of the meeting is, when does Anjuro stay in Senju, and when does he stay in Uchiha? Kagaya, raising her hand, what about me? Uchiha Senju, go aside. They found a tea house on Tuanju Street, negotiated a reservation with the owner in advance, and paid in advance the cost of repairing the house. Inside the house on the left, the Uchihas in dark blue uniforms crossed their arms with dangerous eyes. On the right, the 1,000 hands wearing cabbage-colored ethnic uniforms pretended to be calm and curious about eating melons. In the middle, the protagonists of today's meeting are Unju Senju and Anjuro Uchiha. This can also be regarded as the first official meeting between Senju and an Uchiha Anjuro, an unfamiliar mother and son. Senju Anzu looked at Anjuro's bright eyes and was at a loss. Hello, mother. Hello, my name is Xing, Senju Xing. I know. Father told me your name. I said it, haha. Your father also said your name, haha. How embarrassing. Senju Shing turned around and looked at her super outgoing eldest nephew for help. Senju Shing, embarrassed, what should I say? Senju Hashirama, cheerful, clenching fist, sister-in-law. Come on. Just, do you want to go to Senju? Kyojuro Shing punched herself twice in her heart, asking if she could be tougher. Anjuro asked back, can I still go back to Uchiha if I go? The bottom line of the Senju family is that they can, but they definitely can't reveal their cards right from the beginning of the negotiation. Senju Shing glanced at her eldest brother's face. He was very good, but his stinky face was ordinary, and he couldn't tell anything at all. Can it? Xingjiang smiled brightly. Senju's train of thought was momentarily distorted. Not to mention, this child looked quite like Hashirama when he smiled. I don't want to go. Why are you smiling so brightly if you don't want to go? Kyojuro Shing shouted in her heart, and then recited a few words silently. Emotion card, emotion card, emotion card. She also showed her signature 1,000-hand smile, turned to her brother and shouted, did you hear that? The kid said he didn't want to go. She patted Anjuro's shoulder gently. It's okay if you don't want to go. Who would like to have a clan leader who knows how to use his fists every day? It hurts. Budama endured his anger. First left his nonsense sister behind, and stood at the front to face the Uchiha family Sharingan that suddenly lit up. We have a wooden escape training scroll at home that this child can learn from. Not to be outdone, Uchiha Taijima signaled Azuna to pull Anjuro back to the Uchiha team, then crossed his arms and began to taunt. Our child is a genius. There is no need to read your outdated scroll, Senju Fujian. Children always want to be close to their mothers. Senju Shing whispered behind him. Not necessarily. I think Howie takes good care of the child. Immediately covered her mouth when Senju Fujian turned around and glared at her. Manual silence. JPG. Senju Fujin stepped back and looked at Kyojuro, who was surrounded by Uchiha, revealing his simple smile. You can stay here temporarily if you want. You can stay here for 20 days every month, and you can go back to Uchiha. Uchiha Taijima immediately moved to block Senju Fujin's view of his child. 20 days? People who just died can start to rot after 20 days. No, it's too long. 5 days a month at most. 5 days is too short. The child has just recognized all his relatives, and he goes to Uchiha. He will have to recognize them again next time. 17 days. It doesn't matter if you don't want the relatives of Senju. At 2 more days, 7 days. 7 days? If you Uchiha don't want the child to see his mother, just say it directly. I'll say it directly. I just don't want Kyojuro to go to your Senju. Don't think I don't know how you raise children. It's good enough if they stutter. Our Kyojuro is not going to your house to suffer. Kyojuro is also my sister's biological son. How could you possibly let him suffer? Has your own son suffered less? Calm down, calm down. Hashirama Senju, who was caught off guard by a boomerang, hurried out to smooth things over. We know that Uchiha is reluctant to part with Kyojuro, but 7 days is really too short. It's not good to toss the child back and forth. So, add 3 more days, and Kyojuro will stay in our Senju for 10 days. Uchiha Taijima snorted coldly. Since you said something human, okay, 10 days. Senju Fujin, if the child wants to stay for a few more days, you are not allowed to take him away in advance. Tajima sneered. What good is Senju? Hee. Do you think our Kyojuro cares about you, Senju? If the child wants to leave early, you're not allowed to stop him. Senju Fujin nodded. Okay, it's a deal. Senju Fujin was very satisfied with the result of the 10 days. He thought he could get 3 days at most, but he didn't expect it to be 10 days. It seems that this child is still willing to get close to the Senju family, and the old rival should also be influenced by this child's attitude. Uchiha Taijima is also very satisfied. 10 days a month, and he can leave early, so that Kyojuro is in the most comfortable state. He can contact his mother's family and go home at any time. Since everything has been agreed, let's let the child recognize people first. Senju Fushima gestured to the relatives he brought this time, who have a good relationship with his family, to step forward, and he must let this child feel the enthusiasm of the Senju family. Senju Hashirama took the lead, and Senju Tobarama and other clansmen followed closely behind, and Kyojuro was instantly surrounded by the Senju family. In the shadow of the sunlight through the window, something was quietly surging. Extra 1, when Sasuke discovered that his great-grandfather's last name was Tachibana Sasuke, traveled around after the Battle of the Valley of the End. Strange place, is this a noble house? People are coming hiding a beautiful uncle in his 40s, Masakazu. He has the same name as his great-grandfather. Kazuya has the same name as his grandfather. They also have Sharingan. Could this be his great-grandfather and grandfather? Has he come to the Warring States before the establishment of Konoha? Uchiha is not a ninja anymore. Kazuya, Ryuka is about to give birth soon. Remember to ask for leave in advance, Ryuka. This is Grandma's name. Wait, Grandma is about to give birth. Dad is about to be born. Sasuke, who was caught off guard to see his own father, was excited and his breath leaked too. Being discovered, Sasuke turned over and came down from the roof. Kazuya was stunned. Wow, this young man looks like me. Sasuke was a little embarrassed. Well, you may not believe it. I am your future great-grandson, Kazuya. My grandson? Jungha believed it instantly. There was nothing to disbelieve. He had seen Kyojuro's magical plant that could allow dead ghosts to possess him. Everything was possible, not to mention that the great inventor of the Senju family had invented a formation that could teleport across space. Now, they could teleport across space, so it was natural that they could teleport across time a few decades later. I guess the Senju family will develop some forbidden technique in the future. Sasuke, I'm sorry. Naidame Kazuya was curious. What's your last name? Sasuke was confused. Uchiha. What else could it be? Jungha nodded. Then it seems that your blood concentration is very high. You should be more than one child in your family. Sasuke was sad. I have a brother. Kazuya nodded. I see. The elder brother inherited Tachibana's last name, and the younger brother returned to Uchiha. It's a good arrangement. Let's do it in the future. A wonderful closed loop. Jungha saw something was wrong. If the two brothers were still alive, the child would not show such an expression. Moreover, how could the Uchiha clan, which has become the richest in the entire continent, allow a member of the clan to lose an arm without treatment? No, it is very strange for a broken arm to happen to an Uchiha. Good child, go back to the clan first and tell them that you must check your body first and find a way to treat the broken arm. Sasuke, who could be stubborn in front of friends and sweet in front of family, can only agree. Wow, was the clan land so big before? Is this a factory around? There are so many workers. Does the clan no longer wear combat uniforms? Such exquisite materials. Why is there a Senju in the family land? The one who just passed by, is it Tsunade-sama? Looking at your expression, little Tsunade will be very famous in the future. Uchiha Madara, or the Samsara I version. This world is not destroyed yet. Wait, it can't be infinite. Tsukuyami. Clan leader. Brother Masakazu, Kazuya, why are you back? What is this? A descendant of the clan who came back with the space-time ninjutsu, brought back for you to see. Uchiha Madara felt the breath of the Samsara eye. Uncle Madara, is there a new person in the house? Sasuke's brain was overloaded. How come he had both the Uchiha family emblem and the Senju family emblem on his body? Why not just merge the clan into the 6 paths? Uncle Madara, he knows the 6 paths. I'll move the 6 paths here. Move it here. Kyojuro left in a hurry and brought a basin of cotton again, took out a comb to smooth the hair, revealing his eyes. Young man, you? How come you are also the reincarnation of Indra? Chapter 51. Suddenly, there are many more relatives. Kyojuro's diary. My name is Kyojuro. After I have been a purgatory for 20 years and an Uchiha for 9.5 years, my father suddenly told me that I was still half a Senju. In our family's bedtime stories, the Senju were usually the villains. The descriptions of them in the clan include, but are not limited to, big rough, big fool, insidious, cunning, fake smile family, etc. So in my mind, I usually imagine the image of the Senju as a mixture of the images of my teammates in my previous life, Fushigawara Shia and the elder brother Beiminju. Yes, I have memories of my previous life. I was born in a ghost hunter family, purgatory. Our family has been ghost hunters for generations, So I have been determined to be an excellent ghost hunter since I was a child and inherit the title left by my ancestors, Flame Pillar. My father in my previous life supported me very much and taught me to swing a knife step by step. My mother in my previous life gave me great encouragement before she died, asking me to use my natural strength to protect others. My mother died in my previous life, and I was very sad, but I always kept her last words in mind, trained seriously, and tried to take over the cloak of the Flame Pillar from my father as soon as possible to protect everyone from the evil spirits. However, my father in my previous life was depressed. He felt that I had no talent, and that if I insisted on killing demons, I would only die earlier. Even he himself stopped carrying a knife and just carried a wine pot every day. My brother in my previous life was still young, and I could only tell him, "It's okay, brother will take care of you. Dad loves us very much, but he has been hit. You have to give him time." Until I died, my father in my previous life didn't seem to recover. Although my father in my previous life was depressed, I couldn't be depressed. I still had an agreement with my mother that I hadn't fulfilled, so I taught myself by relying on the notes at home. I have to say that the notes were really difficult to understand, and there were also essays and stories left by the ancestors who first practiced the breath of flame. For example, the water pillar and his stepson standing together were two big and small faceless people, worried that they would not even have food to eat when they went out. For example, Sun is a good person, and Moon is also a good person, but they are not good together. They always fight each other. Fortunately, I am strong. For another example, I'm going off topic. Anyway, I am self-taught and successfully took over the title of Flame Pillar in my father's cape. Flame cape, super cool. Then I live a life of finding ghosts, killing ghosts, cultivating, and finding ghosts again. I can also collect little Easter eggs about my father. When my father in my previous life was not decadent, he was a very outstanding flame pillar and saved many people. I always met many survivors who were saved by him at that time, and they would tell me a story about my father's heroic past. I also have a lord who supports my work very much, and a group of teammates with different personalities but the same goals. Generally speaking, life is good. Then I died because of an upper third wearing a pink vest. In the end, I didn't kill the ghost, which is a pity. Then I lived again, and I became an Uchiha with black hair and black eyes. Uchiha is a very large family, and everyone is the type who is emotional but doesn't like to speak out. It's very similar to Iguro Kobanai when she was a child. Iguro was a child rescued by my father in my previous life. He lived in my house for a few years and later became the snake pillar. He also had a girl he liked. Every time I went to recuperate, I would ask the people in the hidden place about the progress of their relationship. The result I got every time was that there was no progress, because Iguro really didn't say anything. I told him clearly that Kanroji came to the Demon Slayer Corps just to find a strong man to be his husband, but he was able to hold it back for 2 years and never said a word of love. The middleman who has a good relationship with both parties, was really uncomfortable holding it in the middle. I thought that if they didn't say anything, I would become a matchmaker. This also made me deeply realize one thing. Some things can only have results if they're spoken out. So in this life, facing a family with Iguro's personality, I express my gratitude and love loudly every day with great energy. It turns out that my family loves me very much, and I love them too. I have the best family in the world. In the first 9 years of my life, I never saw the Senju. They only appeared in the daily complaints of my family, which is roughly equivalent to the water column that appears in the Yinhu notes. As a result, just yesterday, my dear father suddenly told me that my mother, whom I had never met, was still alive and well. My mother is still alive, which makes me very happy, but my father's next sentence made me fall into confusion. He said, "Your mother is the aunt of the Wood Escape Master of the Senju family." The Wood Escape Master knows that Uncle Madara loves and hates this magical man, and he always looks appreciative when thinking of him. You should know that my Uncle Madara can only be kinder to his family members, especially me, my uncle, my father, and my uncle, and sometimes my Uncle Hwaha, who has been following him. To other people, my Uncle Madara usually has a cold smile on his face. Only when he mentions the wood release user named Senju Hashirama My uncle Madara's expression will instantly become vivid, and he will suddenly talk more. In the description, mixed with a lot of his subjective feelings, I barely pieced together the image of this would-release user. A very friendly, high-powered, gambling-loving, long-haired Senju who always surprises people. Well, the most unexpected thing is my father and my mother. These two people can actually have a baby with a rival family when the relationship between the two families is very ordinary. I made an analogy. It's like the son of Takeda Shinjin and the daughter of Yusuji Kenshin mixed together. It's not that it's not possible. Long live love. I very much support free love. It's just that people who can do this are really powerful. Then, today, with the encouragement of my uncle and grandpa, Anjuro can fly with peace of mind. Uchiha will always be with you. I met my mother face to face. My mother was very nervous, and so was I. After all, not everyone has this experience of introducing themselves to their own mother. I have to say, it's amazing. After several tit-for-tat exchanges between my uncle and the leader of the Senju clan, who technically should be my uncle, I will have to go to the Senju family for 10 days every month. I can arrive late, leave early, and run away at any time. Moreover, Uncle Bam will also go with me. Then I was surrounded by a group of thousand hands. It was like being surrounded by a bunch of curious dogs. Everyone started introducing themselves super enthusiastically. Mu Dunshur said he was my eldest cousin, and a short-haired by mound next to him said he was my second cousin. As for my eldest cousin and my second cousin, one is black and the other is white, I didn't ask. After all, the Fusukawa brothers are also one black and one white. Maybe it's a characteristic of the Senju family. Then a dashing sister with bangs on one side said, "My name is Senju Momoka, and I am your mother's best sister. You could just call me Aunt Momohua." I glanced at my older cousin who was smiling awkwardly and said, "Hello, Sister Tawa." My eldest cousin gave me a well-done look. The Senju family and the Uchiha family are really completely different. They are more like a pack of energetic wolves who like communication and physical contact, while the Uchiha family are more like agile leopards, elegant and reserved, and like to stick to the people they care about. People from the cat faction and dog faction can quarrel, so it's no wonder Senju and Uchiha dislike each other. After a complicated family recognition process, I finally had only the last relative of Senju left in front of me. He took my hand and shook it up and down. "My name is Senju Tei. I am your eldest cousin's good assistant." I nodded along with his swaying rhythm, "Brother Tajong." But he didn't let go. I felt something was not right. A dark shadow flashed in his eyes, and I reflexively wanted to reach for the knife from my waist, but he immediately grabbed my other hand that was reaching for my waist. Then, his hands suddenly turned black, as if they were wrapped in a thick layer of sticky black mud. This black mud was still spreading to my hands. It's that smell again. It's that fierce ghost. Others also noticed something strange and gathered around, trying to peel the black stuff away from both of us. My brain was racing. Why couldn't I detect this ghost's aura in advance? Is it because it is possessed by a living person this time? Now you want to possess me again? Uncle Madara held the knife and wanted to cut off Senju Tei's hands directly. I stopped Uncle Madara because I knew that this evil ghost could abandon the body it occupied at any time. Even cutting off Senju Tei's hand would be useless. And I don't want to hurt innocent people because of me. The evil ghost gradually enveloped me, and I heard him laughing evilly in a hoarse voice. "Do you dare to kill me? What I am using now is the body of your favorite child. If you kill me, I won't have to do anything Jiji so cold." I feel like my thinking has stopped because of this biting cold. This is my instinct reminding me, it's screaming. When the evil spirit was about to wrap around my mouth and nose, I took a deep breath that might be my last breath. Evil ghost. Kill. Breath of fire. It was as if a fire was erupting from my heart. I don't know what happened, but I suddenly felt the cold leave me. My heart was beating rapidly, and I could even hear its roar. My whole body was as hot as burning. I saw my face clearly in my father's eyes. I also have stripes. Flame, it looks very similar to Tanjiro's. Not a BUG. Not a BUG. The Uchiha's eyes were fixed on Andrew, who was having a handshake meeting with the Senjus. fearing that these shameless Senjus would pick up the child and run away. The 4 Uchiha of the patriarch's family frowned, staring at any Senju who was less than 1 meter away from Anjuro. Even Senju Hashirama, who tried to say hello to Uchiha Madara, was used by Taijima. His eyes glared back. Suddenly, Uchiha Madara caught a hint of vigilance on his nephew's face. He immediately drew his sword and stepped forward. The blade was aimed at Senju, who was holding hands with Anjuro. His eyes were extremely cold. Open. As soon as he said these words, a large amount of black mud suddenly poured out of Senju-Tei's hand. He was stunned for a moment, and while exerting force in the opposite direction, he tried to separate himself from Anjuro while asking the tribesmen for help. Come and help. Clan leader. I don't know what's going on. The 2 tribes who were originally playing with their eyes instantly realized that something was wrong and immediately entered a state of combat readiness. Seeing that the black mud had spread to Anjuro's hands, Uchiha Madara couldn't care less and mentioned that he would cut off the hands that had been holding Anjuro in order to prevent the further spread of the black mud. Uncle Ban, it's not him. Anjuro's voice made him hesitate for a moment. But at that moment, the black mud had completely separated from Senju-Tei's body and wrapped Anjuro. Hei and I smiled strangely, exuding astonishing malice, and Uchiha and Senju looked extremely ugly. How dare you attack the cubs of the 2 tribes? Standing next to Uchiha Madara, Izuna stared at Kuroni's body. He didn't know when he had opened a Mangekyo Sharingan. He wanted to find the connection between it and Anjuro and remove the ghost from his nephew's body. Tear it off. Do you dare to kill me? What I am using now is the body of your favorite child, Haney spoke, his voice hoarse. If you kill me, I won't have to do anything Jiji-Jaiji for a moment. Everyone was in a panic, and there was only Haney's wild laughter in the room. What? Uchiha Koichi saw his son's lips move, and then the black mud surged crazily as if he was suddenly hurt by something. So hot. So hot. It roared and felt so hot that it actually retreated from Zinjuro's body, immediately escaped into the ground, and disappeared without a trace. The sentient ninjas of the Senju and Uchiha families chased him out, but found nothing. Anjuro. The moment Hei and I broke away, Howie immediately rushed over and hugged his pale son. Xingjiang's body was hot, his eyes were blurred, and he was about to lose consciousness. Bright red flame patterns suddenly appeared on his face and neck. Uchiha Madara immediately pulled Senju Hashirama over. What's going on? Due to his family heritage and wood release, Senju Hashirama can be regarded as the person who understands life best in the world. He reached out and touched the pattern on Anjuro's forehead and said in shock, "This kid actually entered fairy magic mode? No, it's different." In order to fight against that black mud, he squeezed his body to the extreme. These patterns are the accumulation of dead cells left after rapid cell division and metabolism. His energy is being consumed rapidly. Even if he is unconscious now, he is still consuming himself. If he doesn't learn to use magic to replenish his energy as soon as possible, this child may not live to be 20 years old. For a moment, the heartbeats of the Uchiha in the room stopped following Senju Hashirama's words. If Anjuro died, then their efforts in the past few years have vowed to prevent the children of the clan from dying prematurely. Why does it have to be Anjuro? It happened to be Andrew who brought about a turn of events. Uchiha Madara grabbed Senju Hashirama's wrist, stared into his eyes, and struggled to squeeze out the words through clenched teeth. Hashirama, you know Senjutsu. Teach him and save him. Let me beg you. Chapter 52, I suddenly found myself with Spot's Anjuro's diary. I am Anjuro, and my surname is still Uchiha. After I met my mother, I got stripes. My eldest cousin said that I had incomplete magic skills and that I needed to study hard to prevent myself from dying young. Obviously, my family was frightened. After I woke up from the coma, I saw my dad guarding my bedside. Maybe it was because there were people from the Senju family nearby that I barely managed to hold back from crying. There were also uncles, Uncle Ban and Uncle, all of whom looked very ugly. I raised the corners of my mouth and tried to show a bright smile. I win. Well, I failed to adjust the atmosphere. My dad couldn't hold it in anymore and ran out crying. My uncle patiently explained the current situation to me. First of all, the black mud couldn't get on my body and I was injured by it. It probably won't appear for a while, and the tribesmen will keep searching. Second, I entered an incomplete Senjutsu state because the Senjutsu symbol appeared on my body, which was a flame, very characteristic of Uchiha. Third, because only the Senju family has information on Senjutsu training, I have to live in the Senju family until I learn Senjutsu. How should I explain to my family that I just opened the stripes, not the magical state? Patterns are the ability to predict life in advance, and no one who turns on patterns will live past the age of 25. Whenever a person with patterns appears, the people around them will appear with patterns like a resonance. I don't know how I knew about the markings, but I just knew it, and I also knew that Tomioka also had markings, which was a flowing water splash on his lower jaw. All in all, I came to Senju's house with Uncle Madara carrying my luggage. My mother was still very embarrassed, but I could see that she was trying her best to adapt to her motherhood and arranged a place for Uncle Madara and me to live in the clan's mansion. My dad also wanted to come, but my uncle and grandpa were afraid that his meat buns would beat a dog and he would never come back, so he forcefully kept him at home. It could be seen that my uncle, Senjibudama, and my uncle, Uchimadara, don't get along very well. The two of them always grunt back and forth when they meet. Every time this time comes, my eldest cousin will smile like a sunflower. My second cousin's expression didn't change much. I heard that he was an excellent water ninja. Are all people related to water like this? My eldest cousin said that the information at home should be kept, so I could only let Uncle Ban and I read his translated version. I opened it and read it for a long time, only to find that the whole article was filled with the words natural energy. Physical energy plus spiritual energy U00, 3D chakra. I know this, but what is natural energy? The eldest cousin thought for a long time and just came up with a bunch of onomatopoeia. Uncle Ban gave him a punch, and he squatted in the corner with his knees in his arms and shut himself up. Wow, it turns out that real Muduin can really grow mushrooms from its head. I don't know if I can do it, because I was shaken all over. The plant panel thrown by Renhuo's mother opened automatically, and a row of plant illustrations inside suddenly lit up. Sunshine mushroom, timid mushroom, small spray mushroom, big spray mushroom, melancholy mushroom, char mushroom, all are mushrooms. Senjujiya U00, 3D mushroom house. In order to avoid letting the real would escape see-through, I did not summon these mushrooms immediately. Moreover, the environment where mushrooms grow must be moist and dark. I wonder if the Senju family has such a place. Uncle Ban saw me standing there without saying a word. Maybe he was a little worried, so he began to patiently tell me about natural energy. Shinjuru's sword skills also imitate the power of nature. Each move imitates a different state of flames. I understand, if you want to feel the energy of nature, you must first be in tune with nature. I remember the feeling that I always felt when I was training before, the feeling of the earth calling me. It turned out to be not an illusion. The eldest cousin regained his energy and started explaining again. You have to find a way to absorb that natural power, keep in your body as much as possible, let participate in your energy cycle, and finally integrate it with your own chakra in proportion. By the way, although it's a bit early to tell, you should be careful when absorbing natural energy. Don't absorb too much, otherwise it will be easily assimilated by nature and completely turned into wood. I will save him. He is also my relative. Before Uchiha Madara finished speaking, Senju Hashirama immediately entered the Senjutsu state, interlaced the fingers of both hands, raised the little fingers of both hands with their fingertips facing up, then placed his hands on Anjuro's head, and slowly lifted himself as magic chakra was lost to him. After about a stick of incense, Senju Hashirama withdrew his hand. It's almost done. The damage just caused has been basically made up. This child consumes more of his own energy than he imagined, but he is too young to input too much at once. But in order to completely solve this problem, Anjuro must learn how to absorb natural energy as soon as possible. He raised his eyes and looked in the direction of Thousand-Armed Buddha room. Father, Thousand-Armed Buddha nodded non-committally. Yes, he has this talent, but he must come to Thousand-Armed Buddha to learn. Senjutsu is the secret book of Senju. Allowing someone related to Uchiha to learn from Senju is already the biggest concession that Senju can make. Uchiha Taijima Road can. For Renjuro's life, anything is possible. Kyojuro was still unconscious, so everyone could only find an empty room behind the tea house and temporarily place him there. Fortunately, the two clans had reserved the shop for a day to discuss things. Uchiha Koichi stayed by Kyojuro's side, and the feeling of powerlessness once again lingered in his heart. 8 years had passed, and he thought Kyojuro could grow up safely, but reality hit him hard again. Senju stood by Koichi, said nothing, and just patted him gently. Senju Fushima asked, "You should be able to tell me what that thing is? If I remember correctly, this is the second time it has appeared." Senju Hashirama added, "It seems that only fairy arts can cause damage to it. And why? Why does it have such great malice toward a child like Kyojuro?" Uchiha Taijima sighed. He also wanted to find out what the thing that hurt the Uchiha clan again and again was. "We don't know, but it seems to be at the two ends of natural hostility with Kyojuro. Only Kyojuro can detect it and really attack it." Senju Hashirama suddenly realized, "So you went to find the land of demons before?" "Father, Kyojuro is awake. It's good to wake up. It's good to wake up." Uchiha Taijima directly pushed Senju Hashirama to Kyojuro's side and asked him to check the situation. "Better than I thought." Senju Hashirama checked and found that Kyojuro's physical condition was much better than he expected. Kyojuro's face was pale, but he was still smiling. "I won." Uchiha Koichi couldn't hold back his tears anymore. He whispered an apology, handed Kyojuro to Madara, and left quickly. Uchiha Taijima suppressed his emotions and explained to Kyojuro what he had to do at the moment. "Yes, you won. You heard it, and the injury was serious. It should not appear again during this period. The clan will also strengthen the search. You must take good care of yourself and learn the fairy arts as soon as possible. Your eldest cousin said that you entered the incomplete fairy arts state unconsciously. You must learn the complete fairy arts as soon as possible. During this period, Kyojuro, you must go to Senju and study hard. Good boy, I believe you can do it. I will work hard. Don't worry, uncle." Taijima touched Kyojuro's forehead. "Well, our Kyojuro is a genius. I am not worried. Your uncle Madara will go with you later. Your father." Uchiha Howie looked firm. "Second uncle, I want to go too." "No, Shafu can go with you. You stay at home." It's not that Uchiha Taijima is unkind. It's really useless for Howie to go, because of the broken arm, Kyojuro has always been a little too concerned about him. If he lets him go, it will be detrimental to Kyojuro's careful study and practice. The matter was settled. Fearing that Kyojuro's current physical condition was not enough for him to go through, he, Uchiha Madara, and Senju Hashirama stayed in the store for another day. The others returned to their own clans to make preparations. Taijima was afraid that Kyojuro would not have good food and accommodation in Senju, so he simply packed up all the bedding that Kyojuro usually used. Taijima, "Anyway, Kyojuro doesn't have to carry the luggage, and Madara, as an elder, should be a little tired." Uchiha Madara carried a large scroll full of luggage on his back, holding Kyojuro with his left hand and clenching his right fist uncomfortably, and followed Senju Hashirama step by step into the Senju clan. "Really, Uchi? It's true. Looks like Kyo is really amazing." Mashiro. Along the way, the chatter of the Senju people made Kyojuro look around curiously. When he arrived at the Senju clan's main house, Senjuin came out early to greet him. "Kyojuro, are you tired after walking all the way here? Mom has prepared a room for you." Considering that there was also an accompanying Uchiha Madara, the people of the Senju family cleaned up the guest room on the west side. The guest room was separated from their daily room by a hall, so they would not touch each other unless they deliberately met. Seeing that Senju Fuma and Senju Tobarama were about to come over to say something, Uchiha Madara snorted coldly. "It's better to say less. Kyojuro is still sick. Or is it that letting the patient stand and talk is the way of hospitality of the Senju? A group of rough people who don't know how to love children. Kyojuro has suffered a lot these days." Senju Fuma said, "Kyojuro is our child. When he comes to our house, he can do whatever he wants. It's hard for him, and he has to consider the mood of you as a guest. Stinky boy, Kyojuro has the blood of our Senju, and an Uchiha who comes as a guest dares to speak nonsense. Heh. Senju Tobarama looked at Kyojuro, who was so warm in his perception and couldn't help but like him. He stretched out his hand to touch the child's furry hair, but he took it back under Uchiha Madara's death gaze. "I'll take you to your room, Kyojuro." "Thank you, second cousin Tobarama." Kyojuro smiled brightly, and Tobarama suddenly realized this child, when he smiles, he really looks like his elder brother. Chapter 53, so I started to learn the magic Kyojuro's diary. So I started to learn fairy arts. I can become stronger again. So excited. I don't know if it's because the natural energy of the Senju family is more abundant. I sat in the forest with the flames on my face and neck, breathing rhythmically, putting aside all distractions and just immersing myself in my breathing. One breath, the breath flows. I like this feeling of being close to nature. It makes me feel as clear as being thoroughly cleansed, and my heart becomes much quieter. Senju of the forest. This is the first time I intuitively felt the meaning of this surname. This forest is saying to me, welcome. If the power of the Uchiha comes from the flame in their hearts to protect their families, then the power of the Senju comes from the land that gave birth to them. I don't know how many days have passed, but I still sit in my usual position, listening to the sound of the river not far away, surrounded by trees, and occasionally one or two birds singing. Inhale, exhale, breathing is as normal as it can be, but it seems to be different. All the vitality around me enters my body with my breathing. It enters the blood, nourishes the heart, and I seem to hear my body cheering. Is this the power of nature? I opened my eyes, and in front of me was my big cousin with a bright smile and Uncle Madara with gentle eyes. Congratulations. Kyojuro, you did it. Isn't the power of nature magical? Is there a sense of relaxation that you are about to merge with this forest? I laughed excitedly. Yes. Perhaps this is the magical feeling described in the notes of the successive generations of Yinhu. The feeling that only the first day of the day can experience. After going around in circles and crossing two worlds, I finally experienced this feeling. I have just taken the first step on the road to becoming a strong man. But before that, I have to write a letter to my family. I hope my father will not cry when he sees the letter. Kyojuro and Uchiha Madara have come to live in the Senju family, but Senju Hashirama's translation of ancient books has not made much progress. At the request of Senju Fujian, the original ancient books recording the methods of cultivating immortal arts could not be shown to Kyojuro, so he had to rely on Senju Hashirama, a veteran, to translate and transcribe the ancient books. Senju Hashirama held a pen in his mouth, scratching his head and thinking hard to translate the immortal arts materials that no one could understand into human language, and it had to be human language that children could understand. Ababa, what is this? He wrote down a word in pain and crossed it out immediately. It seems like there's a Sharingan, so I can tell Kyojuro my feelings directly. Brother, be serious. You have been sitting here for 3 hours, and you have only just written. Senju Tobarama looked at the paper with words on it. Only 2 pages. Tobarama, please help me write. I will tell you my feelings. Please help me write. Okay. Senju Hashirama held his brother tightly, as if he saw a savior. Senju Tobarama looked at his brother in embarrassment, but finally compromised. Okay. Tobarama is the best. Yeah. Senju Tobarama followed the force of Senju Hashirama and sat down at the table, saying, let me make it clear first. I don't know fairy arts, so what I wrote may not be right. You have to review it carefully. Yeah. Tobarama, you don't know fairy arts, but you know me. I will tell you. You will definitely be able to write it clearly. Senju Tobarama picked up the pen and dipped it in ink with some joy. Brother, tell me. The first step in learning immortal arts is to feel the natural energy. Well, natural energy is a very warm energy. If you don't feel it seriously, you can't feel it. If you feel it seriously, you can't feel it even more. Senju Hashirama gestured in the air with his hands, but it exists. Some places are thicker, some places are thinner, but it exists everywhere. When you can feel it, you have to find a way to absorb this natural energy. Yes, absorb it into your body. That feeling is so comfortable. It's obvious. It's like there's a small spring in your body, gurgling, then your body will bang, 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 and you'll be inexplicably happy. Your whole body will open up instantly, and you can't wait to grab the vines and swing on the tree. It must be said that Senju Tobarama is worthy of being Senju Hashirama's younger brother. No matter how Senju Hashirama expresses it, judging from the final result of Kyojuro's practice, Senju Tobarama's summary is not bad. Kyojuro's progress was beyond Senju Hashirama's expectation. He could feel the power of nature just by sitting in the forest for more than 10 days. I've always wanted to ask, Kyojuro's breathing method, isn't it specially taught by your clan? In Senju Hashirama's perception, the natural power in this forest is very close to Kyojuro, and even when he breathes gently, it will actively drill into his body. No wonder when he diagnosed it. He always felt that Kyojuro's condition was much better than he thought. What a magical child. He created it himself. When did he create it? Maybe only brother Howie knows. Uchiha Madara was on guard to prevent something blind from disturbing Kyojuro's practice. Some curious Senju wanted to take a look at this magical child who merged the blood of the two clans while patrolling, but they all silently detoured under the gaze of Uchiha Madara. Senju, damn it! If I can't beat him. It's not like no one in the clan has tried Zinjuro's breathing method. It's easy to get started, but it's a bit difficult to achieve Zinjuro's state of being able to maintain it when eating, sleeping, and training. Uchiha Madara himself has tried it. Although it can improve some physical fitness, it will cause palpitations and numbness in the hands and feet after a while. This is a big disadvantage for ninjas who need flexible fingers to perform seals. To put it simply, Uchiha Madara tried the breath of fire, but he showed symptoms of hyper-breathing. That's it. Senju Hashirama also imitated Andrew's breathing rhythm and tried it. It was surprisingly refreshing. He felt that something in his whole body had been exchanged with nature. Breathing like this a few times from time to time may make me stronger. Madara might lose to me then. Uchiha Madara smiled confidently. You can come and try. By watching the two men's celestial teachings, he realized something other than the 5 attributes of chakra and the power of nature. Now his eyes are gestating new power. The two laughed at each other for a while. And then Madara Uchiha asked, in fairy mode, are there any particularities about the lines on the face? I remember you have a sun symbol on your forehead. Yes, I have this after practicing according to the clan's celestial magic notes. But the lines on Xingjiang's face may be related to his inner thoughts. Hashirama's celestial arts should not have been learned from Slug Immortal. Otherwise, the lines on his face would be the same as the celestial arts of MT Mayaboku or Ryukidon, with the characteristics of the 3 great celestial beings. But now he only has large sun lines, and the lines on his face should be the same. Combined with his yang escape power and his status as the reincarnation of Azura, I don't feel that he has anything to do with Slug. This is the first time I've seen the pattern of flames, but it suits Andrew very well, and it also suits you Uchiha very well. In the land of the Uchiha clan. Well, Uchiha Hirohiko sighed for the 15th time today. His sister, Mrs. Keiko, looked at her brother with disgust. I'm going to be a great-grandfather soon, so be careful. Boyan grabbed the tatami under him and said, Sister, aren't you worried about Anjuro? I don't know how he's doing now. Is he eating well in Senju, living well, and whether practicing Zanjutsu has alleviated his physical condition? Mrs. Keiko patted the scroll in her hand and said, You have to believe Anjuro. He is stronger than you. But he hasn't sent any news to the clan for so many days. The same goes for Madara. What's written in the letters sent home, every day. It's better to use the Sharingan to send back a picture. It's a good thing that there's no news. It means Anjuro is dedicating himself to practice. Madara's letter is clear enough, but you just don't want to read it. Mrs. Keiko tried her best not to be affected by her troubled brother, and tried her best to focus on the book in her hand. News from Anjuro. Bang! A burst of white smoke flashed by, and Boyan directly used the teleportation technique and went straight to the patriarch's mansion. Mrs. Keiko also put down the book in her hand, got up, and walked out. That was the big baby in the family. How could she not be worried? Clan leader. Read it quickly. Don't rush me, just read it now. Kyojuro said that he has touched the threshold of Senjutsu. After Senju Hashirama's diagnosis, he determined that Anjuro is out of danger. Taijima just pretended that he didn't see the 3 words big cousin written in the letter. Yeah, I'll just say Shinjuru is a genius, and he can learn magic with ease. I remember that Senju Hashirama seemed to have been in seclusion for nearly a year when he first learned Senjutsu. Yes, Anjuro is better than him. The room was packed with Uchiha who cared about Anjuro. In addition to Taijima, Koichi, and Izuna, there were also the 2nd Elder Su, the 3rd Elder Fukuturo and Mrs. Keiko, the 4th Elder Senhiro, the 5th Elder Shin, the 6th Elder Hirohiko, and the 1st Elder Gon. Mikiko and the 3 little Uchiha, the other Uchiha who couldn't squeeze and could only squeeze in the yard, or turn into psychic beasts and squat on the beams to listen. Sure, what's next? Uchiha Xan barely maintained order and motioned for Taijima to continue reading. Zingjuro also said that he can summon a lot of mushrooms, and he will summon them again when he returns home. Mushrooms? What mushrooms? A lot? It would be nice if they were poisonous mushrooms. Big Baby needs some means of self-protection. Why was Anjuro suddenly able to summon so many mushrooms after he arrived at the Senju? Did those Senju only let Anjuro eat mushroom fried rice every day? I knew Kianju was unreliable. No one would eat mushroom fried rice every day. Anyway, Xingjiang has learned it. Let's go and bring Xingjiang back. Second, seeing the increasingly chaotic situation, Taijima simply put away the letter and quietly looked at the group of tribesmen who were talking in a hurry, preparing to rush to Senju to snatch Anjuro back. The voices of the Uchihas discussing became quieter and quieter, and finally they all shut up. Taijima then spoke. I know everyone hopes that our Anjuro can go home early, but we can't go now. Xingjuro's letter said that he can only enter the state of Senjutsu while sitting quietly, and he needs to continue to study so that he can always be in the state of Senjutsu during activities. The child has high demands on himself, and we must support him, so he must not go to Senju. If he goes, he will cause trouble to Shinjuru. Yes, clan leader. The Uchiha became obedient. When they heard that the Big Baby couldn't come back yet, they all became a little depressed. Since Kyojuro mentioned his new plant, the clan should also prepare in advance. The agricultural department should build a mushroom cultivation room as soon as possible. This part is a blank part of the clan, so it will be handed over to the 6th elder. Yes, Kyojuro's fairy mode needs to be in the forest. Gong, you take people to find a suitable location and set it up. Do we need to set up a defensive formation? Not yet. We don't know whether the energy of the formation will affect the fairy technique. Just arrange the patrol team first. Okay. After the work was arranged, the clan members left first. Taijima glanced at his nephew and sighed. Don't hold it in, cry. It was really hard for Howie. He wanted to cry since he saw the letter, but he held it in for an hour and a half. Koichi cried. Uncle, Kyojuro is so young. He has to go to a place where he is not familiar with, and he has to face the threat of death and work hard to practice. Now that he has made a little progress, he still has to think about the clan. Woo! Quina handed Koichi a handkerchief skillfully and patted his back. It is obvious that he has done this a lot during this period. Taijima also sighed. Yes, Kyojuro is so sensible at such a young age that it makes people feel distressed. Woo! If Kyojuro didn't have that kind of talent, it would be better. Shut up. How can you say such a thing? Are you afraid that Kyojuro will die too late? Obviously, Koichi also realized his problem, but he couldn't get rid of this idea in his mind for the past 10 days. If Kyojuro didn't have the ability to identify evil spirits and hurt evil spirits, he wouldn't be targeted by evil spirits. If he wasn't targeted by evil spirits, he wouldn't have to burn his vitality at such a young age. There would be number 20-year-old curse. Taijima's expression became serious. I know you are just thinking too hard, but you shouldn't say that you hope Kyojuro doesn't have this talent. Let's not talk about whether the evil spirit that has been targeting Uchiha for so many years will let go of Kyojuro, who is so special and has the blood of 2 clans, even if Kyojuro doesn't have the talent. You are an adult ninja, and you shouldn't have the idea of weakening to keep safe. Kyojuro's talent is the key to his becoming a strong man. He has talent, a strong heart, and the desire to become stronger. What we should do is to support him. Kyojuro's determination is stronger than yours. Think about it carefully. Do you want to be a burden that hinders Kyojuro's growth or support behind him? Chapter 54. So, I heard about the love between parents from another perspective in Juro's diary. I am Juro, currently working hard to learn immortality. Yesterday, my eldest cousin said that I can absorb natural energy in a still state. If only I had known how to absorb natural energy in my previous life. Then I ushered in the second stage of the task, how to absorb natural energy while moving. This is very similar to the training of concentrated breathing and regular breathing. Those who lack the means will end up in the same place. I thought of this sentence that appeared in Yinhu's notes again. Whether it's breathing techniques or chakra, as long as you can practice it to the extreme, everyone will eventually reach the same state. This does not refer to the ordinary state of transparency, but to a higher level, selflessness, which is the vegetative state reached by Tanjiro in the final battle against Uoza. Its biggest feature is that it can eliminate murderous intent, integrating with nature, not just being able to see through the human body. But before officially entering the next stage of practice, my uncle and my mother prepared a delicious meal. It can be regarded as a two-in-one celebration banquet and reception banquet. Senju's dishes are very characteristic of Senju. Many of them are wild vegetables, mushrooms, and fish collected from the nearby mountains and forests, and they are salty and fragrant. The salt-grilled snapper is super delicious. Uncle Ban looked disgusted with the food on the table, so he used his clone technique to go to the kitchen and cook a few more dishes that suited his taste. After the dishes were served, it was just me, my eldest cousin, and my mother who all ate the dishes happily. The sweet potato rice made by Uncle Ban is so delicious. 5 ants. At night, my mother came to me with a candle to chat. She told me a lot about the time when she and her father met. It's all a filter for my dad. The fragile beauty in her mouth who can't take care of herself is actually my dad. Moreover, my mother was the one who took the initiative, sending flowers every day to make her presence felt, and chatting to relieve the knot. In the end, my mother even gave my father a kimono to propose. How is it different from what my dad said? Koichi, who was reflecting on the Uchiha tribe, sneezed. Strange, so strange. Juro was meditating to absorb natural energy, while Senju Hashirama squatted on the outside and discussed quietly with Madara Uchiha. He really couldn't figure out why Xingjalang's immortal skills were progressing so much faster than him. It couldn't be that his translation was too good, right? In their clan, even Tobarama and Senju Anzu, who had been listening to him talk about his insights into celestial arts, had not learned any celestial arts. Madara Uchiha took it for granted. Juro is a genius, and learning Senjutsu is a matter of course. Shinjuru is the only person who has inherited both the immortal eyes and the immortal body. He is the miracle itself. Even if he becomes the second Six Paths Immortal in the future, it is reasonable. Senju Hashirama tried to get rid of the influence of his best friend's filter and try to think, could it be the way he's breathing and the markings? Breathing connects oneself with nature, and patterns activate full potential. It is precisely because of these two foundations that Juro can quickly realize the existence of natural power and utilize it. Teaching and learning are mutually beneficial. In the process of teaching Juro to learn Senjutsu, Senju Hashirama also had a direction for the development of new ninjutsu. If you can use the seal of the 100 how to change Juro's explosive ability to absorb physical strength, which he calls himself the pattern, into one that can be used at any time, the harm of spots is mainly uncontrollable. As long as it is turned on, all the potential of the future body will be squeezed out. What if it can be controlled? By turning it on when needed and off when not needed, you may be able to get rid of the life limit. Moreover, the power that is not usually used is gathered and sealed in the body, and is released all at once when needed. This way, the body's strength is not consumed all the time, and the combat effectiveness and recovery power can be rapidly increased when needed. The Senju clan is already famous in the ninja world for their strong physique. If this trick is really feasible, the strength of the Senju clan, including the Uzumaki clan, will be greatly improved. I just don't know how to turn on the markings. Thinking of this, Senju Hashirama was full of energy. This process of simply studying ninjutsu was quite interesting to him. Madara, Anjuro is a miracle. Seeing that Xingjiang was basically out of danger, Thousand-Armed Buddha's thoughts began to come alive. You have to build a good relationship with this kid while he is still a Senju. When the child first arrived, he should have prepared a reception banquet, but considering the important matter of life and death, he really didn't have time to do all these fancy things. So he postponed it until now, just in time to celebrate Xingjiang's learning of celestial arts. Your son has been living here for half a month, and you haven't even given him a meal. Thousand-Armed Buddha glanced at his useless sister. His son was already so old, and there was no point in escaping. Senju Xing looked at the sky and the earth, but not at her elder brother. It's not like I haven't seen it before. Wasn't it blocked by Uchiha Madara, and it ended up in Hashirama's stomach? The mushroom fried rice that the Uchiha family was worried about did not happen. Anjuro's rice was cooked by Madara Uchiha. Senju Hashirama. Wow. My sister-in-law came to deliver food to me again today. Thousand-Armed Buddha was worried. We don't even know what the child likes to eat. How are we going to cook today? Senju Anzu raised her hand. When she went to Uchiha before, Koichi told her about Anjuro's preferences. I know this. Anjuro likes to eat salt-grilled sea bream. Salt roasted, then it tastes salty. Thousand-Armed Buddha said a little happily, this child really looks more like Senju. At the dining table, Uchiha Madara looked at the dishes that had been prepared and curled his lips in disgust. A bunch of wild vegetables and mushrooms dug from the forest, plus a few fish caught from the river. It is so simple that it can be said to be Xingshou Lang's reception feast and celebration feast. I didn't know that I came to ask Xingjuro what he likes to eat in advance, but the dishes were already prepared. You're probably afraid that Xingjuro will be full. Senju Butama was not used to Uchiha Madara, so he directly retorted, if you use the Sharingan too much, you will go blind. Can't you see the grilled fish on the table? Uchiha Madara rolled his eyes and pointed at Senju Tobarama with his chopsticks. Do you think I don't know that Senju Tobarama's favorite food is grilled fish? The first instinct of Senju Tobarama, who was innocently lying at gunpoint, was that Hashirama had casually told Uchiha Madara about his family information again. Brother, why does Uchiha Madara know that I like to eat grilled fish? Brother, Senju Hashirama laughed awkwardly. Haha, let's eat quickly. The food should be cold. Snort. Uchiha Madara was not willing to let Anjuro eat such simple food, so he simply made a seal, clone technique. Sealed scroll? I don't need to worry about it. Senju clan leader. The Thousand-Armed Buddha sat down angrily. I want to see how good your Uchiha's food can be. In the kitchen, the two clones of Madara Uchiha cooperated with each other. After a moment of burning incense, 4 dishes and 1 soup were served, as well as Anjuro's favorite sweet potato rice. There were also snacks being prepared in the pot. Potato stew, stir-fried peas, stir-fried pea tips, and a plate of jimintang, fried fish, plus a corn cabbage soup. The octopus balls that Anjuro loves are being fried in the pot. As soon as the food was served, the 4,000 hands on the table took a deep breath of the aroma. Apart from anything else, the aroma of potato stew is too overpowering. Thousand-Armed Buddha Jin coughed reservedly, stretched out his spoon and deliberately avoided the potato stew, and scooped out a spoonful of corn soup to taste. Tisk, it's too sweet. Aren't you afraid that your children will get cavities? As soon as he heard that it was sweet, Senju Tobarama silently took back his chopsticks. Uchiha Madara didn't even bother to pay attention to this kind of obvious conflict. That's better than your salty food full of low-class tastes. The anecdote used here is, Oda Nobunaga was ridiculed as a country boy by other enemies because of his harsh words. Where are your manners? I'm so good that I was a ninja at the same time as your father. With all due respect, judging from Xingjuro, the two of us are equals. You only think of using seniority to suppress others when you have nothing to say. Senju Shing and Senju Hashirama secretly stretched out their chopsticks and spoons. Isn't this delicious? It's delicious. The war of words initiated by Senju Budama was interrupted. Senju Budama glared at his troubled son and troubled sister, while Hashirama and Shing skillfully lowered their heads to eat. Hashirama, Enzu, invisible Uchiha Madara was the first to sit down and took a bite of salt-grilled sea bream with his chopsticks. Oh, the curve of the corner of his mouth was clearly mocking Thousand-Armed Buddha, who only knew how to stick to the old rules, not even daring to try fresh food, and wanted to vent his anger on his son. Thousand-Armed Buddha Jin asked for help and sat down. Let's eat. Madara stretched out his hand. Anjuro, I made sweet potato rice. Give me the bowl. Thank you, Uncle Ban. Anjuro happily mixed the fish with sweet potato rice, which was his favorite way to eat it. 5 ants. Senju. After dinner, it was getting dark. After being entangled for a while, Senju Shing decided to seize such a good opportunity today and decided to go talk to her son. As for the topic, well, it really has to focus on Koichi, who they are both familiar with. Mother. Facing Anjuro's bright smile, Senjuin stiffly reached out and touched her son's hair, while her whole body was nervously alert to Uchiha Madara's elusiveness. Call. Is mother looking for Uncle Ban? No. I'm here to chat with you. Qianju Shing raised the candlestick in his hand. Let's talk by candlelight at night. What? First of all, congratulations on your successful perception of natural energy. I never thought that Hashirama's teachings that no one can understand can actually teach a successful case. It's really because my son is too smart. Senju Shing's words turned into random thoughts, and Shinjuru sat opposite and listened. Anjuro, I feel like my mother and my eldest cousin have a very good relationship. That's too far. Anjuro's eyes brought Senju and's thoughts back, and she murmured to herself, your eyes are really similar to Koichi's. My uncle also said that my eyes look very similar to my father's. The topic naturally transitioned to how and Senju Shing opened up the conversation. 10 years ago, maybe, I was in a bad mood during that time, and your uncle scolded me for trivial matters, so I just ran away from the clan with a bunch of trivial tasks. I remember that there was a mission from the Kingdom of You. They asked me to lurk in a noble banquet to gather information. The banquet was very boring. The maid I dressed as a maid had to stand all the time and couldn't even eat the food. Is the food delicious? I thought it was normal. I didn't eat more than 2 bites before I was discovered by someone in the kitchen. Then I ran away and happened to stumble into your father's yard. How he saw through Shing's disguise at first sight. Recalling the first meeting under the moon that day, a smile appeared on Senju Shing's face unconsciously. At that time, Howie's eyes were still filled with tears. They were like sparkling water under the moon. He was very weak and leaned against the pillar. Maybe he was frightened by me. When he looked back at me, there happened to be a tear. It dripped. Those tears seemed to fall on Senju Shing's heart. She was stunned by this kind of beauty that should not appear in the world. She remained motionless for fear that her actions would scare away the beauty under the moon in front of her. At that moment, all the worries left her, and there was only one sentence left in her mind. If I die like this, won't I never be able to see the beauty in front of me again? Senju Anzu felt a little ashamed of herself. A ninja like her covered in blood looked so ugly in those autumn eyes. I originally wanted to leave just like that, but how he opened his mouth and stopped me. He asked me if I caused any trouble and if I wanted to come in and hide for a while. Seeing Senju An's expression of intoxicated nostalgia for the past, Anjuro kindly did not tell her the version he heard from Koichi. Koichi, she was wearing a maid's outfit. She was probably on an intelligence investigation mission. I thought about whether I could get something out of her, so asked her to keep her. After that, I stayed in Uji country to do missions. I would go to the courtyard to see how every day. I could see that he was very unhappy, so I would give him some flowers or gadgets to make him happy. But every night he would still sit there quietly and look at the moon as if he didn't want to stay here and wanted to go to the moon. One night, I was sitting with him in the courtyard, and he suddenly asked me if he was a disappointment. He said that a very important elder of his had passed away, and he had never lived up to that elder's expectations of him. Always crying weakly. I told him that everyone's talents are different, and there is no need to fight for other people's opinions, and then he cried. The corners of his eyes and nose were red, but there was no sound at all. It was very distressing. Then, well, I was almost done with my mission in your country and was about to leave. I was afraid that he wouldn't want to leave me. So I even gave him a kimono. Mom, give me kimonos. Usually men give them to women for marriage proposals. Senju Anzu said, nonsense seriously. Well, your father is my wife. But daddy is a man. Qian Juxing couldn't help but laugh. It was so fun to tease her son. But your father is attentive and sweet. He looks good in white. Well, he looks good in any color, so he is his wife. Chapter 55. Then I saw many thousand hands and Juro's diary. I am Xingjiang, and I am still practicing immortality. Accompanied by my eldest cousin, I felt safe and immersed in the absorption of natural energy. Just because I can sense natural energy when I sit still doesn't mean I can do it when I'm active. I still have a long way to go from walking to being able to instantly enter the magical state when fighting. 2 days later, the task escalated and I needed to separate my mind and absorb natural energy while chatting with others. My training place has also become the backyard of the Senju clan's mansion where I am currently living. The backyard is clearly divided into 2 parts. On the left is the eldest cousin's medicine garden, and on the right is the second cousin's workbench. There are many plants on the left. If Xiaoyu were here, he would be excited to read all the plants in it. There was no grass on the right side, and there were many strange tools. I could only make out the forge. On the first day, my mother and Aunt Muhua were by my side chatting about the gossip of the Senju family. At my mother's strong request, Aunt Taohua reluctantly accepted the title aunt. They were eating melon seeds while talking about recent events in the Thousand Hands tribe. In the end, I was able to absorb natural energy while eating melon seeds. Melon seeds are so delicious. After that, I could see Senju people coming to chat with me every day. Except for a few acquaintances who went to the tea house that day, the others were all elderly Senju clan members. They usually sit under the eaves and watch me practice, talking about the old Senju, mainly the dark history of my eldest cousin and my mother, and how to use the various herbs in the medicine garden. I took a look at the plant moods on the panel and admired them very much. The Senju family are really good at growing herbs. So many herbs were planted together, but none of them had their medicinal properties affected. Herbs with different preferences were all taken care of properly, and they complemented each other beautifully. In the evening, they would leave. In Uchiha, Grandpa Zhongrun, who lived to be 84 years old, is the oldest person I have ever seen. He is the only one in Uchiha who has lived to 84. However, in Senju, old people in their 70s or 80s are very common. I wonder when Uchiha will be able to do this. Senju Hashirama looked at Anjuro beside him, who was immersed in the practice of senjutsu, and felt a little complicated. On the one hand, he was proud of the talent of his younger generation, but on the other hand, he was frightened by the fact that Anjuro, relying on his senior to look after him, unscrupulously indulged himself and focused all his energy on absorbing natural energy. Excessive indulgence in natural energy will lead to assimilation by natural energy. This made Senju Hashirama completely afraid to let Anjuro practice alone, so he followed him step by step. Uchiha Madara laughed at him from a distance, like a chicken mother. Senju Hashirama sighed. Madara, I finally understand your proud and nervous attitude when you mention Anjuro. Uchiha Madara smiled and said, I think it's because Senju Tobarama, the younger brother, is so carefree that I can't tell who is the older brother between the two of you. When I was young, I talked shamelessly about putting my brother in a safe place to protect him, but when I grew up, I knew that I would leave the difficult and troublesome work to Senju Tobarama. Senju Hashirama narrowed his eyes and teased, Madara, you have a very good impression of Tobarama. Thanks for having you as my foil. Seeing Senju Hashirama's voice getting louder and louder, Uchiha Bane made a silent gesture. Won't it affect Xingjuro if you talk so close to him? Senju Hashirama deliberately increased the volume, just to let him get used to sensing natural energy despite interference. I'm going to deliberately chat with him in the next 2 days. Uchiha Madara raised his eyebrows. understanding Senju Hashirama's intention to ask the Senju tribe to find Anjuro, and he did not stop him. After all, no one can dislike Anjuro, and it would be good for Anjuro to deepen his relationship with the Senju tribe. Moreover, he was confident that no matter how many connections he had with Senju, Uchiha would still be number one in Anjuro's heart. Senju Hashirama noticed Uchiha Madara's acquiescence and grinned. He knew that Madara would not stand in the way of something that was good for Anjuro. Madara is so soft-hearted towards his family. Uchiha Madara rolled his neck uncomfortably. Should we let him get used to sensing natural energy when fighting? Then let's teach you Senju's sword skills together. When it comes to Senju's sword skills, Senju Hashirama's first reaction is his family's most famous big, Naginata. Anjuro's current small body is not as tall as a Naginata, and Madara's requirements are too strict. Uchiha Madara was annoyed. You don't have any other swords except the Naginata. Senju Hashirama smiled. Oh, okay, but I see that the sword technique Anjuro used that day has the shadow of Uchiha, but the whole style is its own style, not like your family style. Mentioning this, Uchiha Madara raised his chin proudly. Is the ninjutsu that Anjuro created himself. Combining ninjutsu and swordsmanship is the most suitable fighting style for him. This is what Uchiha Madara is most proud of. When fighting with a knife, even a farmer who is cornered can use a kitchen knife to chop randomly a few times. However, he finds the fighting style that suits him best and fights with others again and again. In the battle, you can absorb the advantages of the opponent, integrate them with your own style, and completely become your own. This is a talent that only an extremely outstanding ninja can have. I don't know how many people have spent decades and hundreds of fights to find their own style. Anjuro has this understanding at a young age and can adapt it to the Uchiha clan's dexterous and cunning sword skills. How could Uchiha Madara not be proud of how he could produce the sword technique that was most suitable for his own physical condition? As soon as Senju Hashirama saw the smiling look on his best friend's face, he knew that he had once again fallen into the trap of why is my child so awesome? However, there should be no one who doesn't like Anjuro. It's really amazing that he can create swordsmanship in the style of the Senju family, based on instinct. Considering that it would be convenient for the Senju to come and chat with Anjuro, Senju Hashirama moved Anjuro's training venue from the forest to his own backyard after inspecting various parts of the clan. Own medicinal garden. There's so many herbs, it's so messy. You couldn't have grown Muduin to allow them to grow. I have a habit of thinking carefully about medicinal herbs. Senju Hashirama brought out a bamboo futon from Senju Tobarama's room. The edges of each bamboo strip were polished cleanly, and the Senju's double-headed fork clan emblem was engraved on it. How about it? It looks good. Tobarama heard that he made it specially for Anjuro. Fresh and simple, it's really good. But why doesn't Senju Tobarama give it to me myself? Tobarama is a bit shy. He has been like this since he was a child. The more he likes something, the more he has to show that he doesn't like it. Senju Hashirama arranged a futon so that Anjuro could sit down and rest when he was tired from walking. He raised his hand and made a gesture on his neck. He likes fur collars very much, but he doesn't say it. He insists that he wears them to protect his neck. Qian Jishing held a small basket of red dates and spoke slowly. Not only that, every time Hashirama and I gave him a fur collar, he would pretend to be reluctant, but actually he would immediately after returning to his room. Put your face in it. She stretched the basket forward. Would you like to eat? It's been washed. Thank you, sister-in-law. Thank you. Uchiha Madara also reached out and took one. Are you here today? Senju Shing dropped a date into his mouth. It's not me, it's not right. It's me and Momo. Kohashirama asked us to chat next to Anjuro and occasionally ask Anjuro a few questions. I never imagined that I could receive a task from the clan leader to talk about gossip openly. Senju Momo also came. Apparently, she often ran to the patriarch's mansion. She followed the sound and came to the backyard, carrying a bag of melon seeds in her hand. Hey, they're all here. Want some? The new products from your Uchiha shop are limited every day. After 9 years, the sunflowers summoned by Anjuro in the Uchiha clan were finally used for a new purpose by Uchiha. eating the seeds of the flowers. Ordinary sunflowers with a single disc will begin to wither after 5 years of being summoned. Hundreds of seeds will be produced in the center of the disc. Planting these seeds will only grow ordinary sunflowers and will no longer produce sunlight patches. However, in autumn, these ordinary sunflowers will sunflower in the middle of the plate. The seeds produced are somehow larger than the local sunflower seeds in the land of fire, and they only need to be slightly fried to emit a strange aroma. Put them in your mouth and knock them gently with your upper and lower teeth, and the melon seeds inside will enter the mouth and chew it for a few times to leave a fragrant aroma on your lips and teeth. The click-click sound made when eating seeds is very brainwashing. Once you start eating, you can't stop. However, Uchiha Kyojuro, who had a few ulcers in his mouth because he got angry after eating too much, did not send a few packets to Andrew and Madara. Kyojuro, we can't embarrass Madara Senju, except for a small part of the seeds that could not be consumed by the agricultural department for research. The rest were sent by Uchiha to shops in various places for sale. Senju looked at Anjuro walking slowly in the yard, and suddenly raised her hand and gave Senju Onichi a pestle. "You lied to me, huh?" Kyojuro followed the force to her side, relieved most of her strength, and pretended to be in pain, holding her waist. "How dare you? I mainly wanted to fool my brother. Who knows I didn't fool him?" Recalling the face of Uchiha Koichi she had seen that day, Senju rubbed her chin. "So you like that type? No wonder Sam Lang is out of luck. Have you heard that Sam Lang met a very caring and gentle woman before, but she turned around and defrauded him of all his money? My brother really knows him. No wonder he is only allowed to take a dozen taels every time he goes out." Kyojuro cracked the melon seeds. "You are so old, but you still believe in the scam of I don't care about anything, I just care about you. If you have that kind of money, you might as well go gamble. Be careful if the patriarch hears this and beats you up again. Is it fun to babysit? You haven't been out for more than 10 days. My son is quite funny. Forget about Aji's kind. It's too noisy. Have you seen the psychic beast that Aji signed? It's a little bear. I don't know how he deceived the little bear by bypassing the mother bear. I guess he picked it up. With his luck, it's not too outrageous." Senju suddenly remembered that Senju Hashirama asked her to ask Andrew a few questions. "Anjuro, do you have a psychic beast?" Xingqiang turned around and walked towards the two of them. Signed, "It's an owl named Mao Mao." Senju Hashirama, who had been watching, nodded with satisfaction. Yes, although there was a momentary fluctuation when he opened his mouth, he immediately regained his composure. Owls are psychic beasts. It's rare to see them. Owls stay day and night, and their hoots are weird. Appearing in front of people may cause commotion, which is not a good thing. Kyojuro still wanted to analyze rationally, but after looking at Anjuro's little face, he immediately changed his mind. It's just right for a ninja. I remember that an owl makes no sound when it flies. Well done, Anjuro. Xingqiang smiled. Thank you, Annie Taohua. Only on the first day were Senju Xing and Senju Taohua, followed by other Senju clan members and many elders of the Senju clan. Uchiha Madara was too lazy to listen to these old men and women reminiscing about the past, so he simply asked Kurama to compress his body and guard Andrew, while he hid in the room and began to study the strange power of the Sharingan. I don't know if he's been around Senju Hashirama for a long time, but his Sharingan has become more and more restless recently, as if urging him to catch up with Senju Hashirama's progress, or to overtake him or overtake him. This is usually the case when the Senju family's elders meet Anjuro. Senju Tobarama or Senju Anzu led the person over, and Anjuro bowed politely. "Hello, Grandpa/Grandma 20. They might stare at Anjuro's face with squinted eyes for a long time, and then say a few words of encouragement in a tangled manner. Or he stretched out his hand to touch Andrew's hair, saying a few words of emotion that this little fried hair was really Uchiha's hair, and then said that he was not at a disadvantage if he had 1,000 hands. All in all, their reaction to seeing Anjuro is usually pretty much the same. Struggling, thinking, trying to make ends meet, trying to spread kindness, giving red envelopes/gifts. Then he sat under the eaves and watched Xingqiang train. This kid is much more worry-free than Hashirama back then. After hearing this kind of words too many times, Xingjiang couldn't help but start to wonder how naughty his eldest cousin could be to make every Senju clan member who came to chat with him feel so emotional. The old man from the Senju family just smiled faintly and said that when Senju Hashirama was a child, he would go up trees to dig out birds' nests, go down to the river to catch fish, and deliberately rub himself on others while being covered in mud. And then he would be taken home and beaten by Senju Hashirama. A fun and painless thing. The child who was running around like crazy now has become the backbone of the family and is about to get married and have children. Xiao Hashirama is now the idol of the children in the family, and they will not talk about the embarrassing things that tarnish his image. If there is anything that the Senju family is good at, it must be the cultivation and use of medicinal herbs. With the idea of making Anjuro more like a Senju that Uchiha Madara cannot know, the old man of the Senju family told Anjuro about the herbs in the medicine garden with great eloquence. Chapter 56. So, I learned the thousand-hand sword technique, Anjuro's diary. I am Anjuro, currently practicing hard in Senju. After several days of chatting with the Thousand Hands clan members, my eldest cousin announced that I have become proficient in absorbing natural energy in daily activities. I no longer have to worry about excessive energy loss, and I am now out of danger. Have you ever been exposed to the practice of immortality before? No, I am also very strange. It seems that someone once told me about breathing methods, markings, and I blinked and opened my Sharingan. The eldest cousin in front of him bowed and held his head, his bones and muscles clearly visible in his eyes. There is also this perspective that is turned on when the Sharingan is opened. After the Sharingan is closed, the perspective is also turned off. I remember that only the Byakugan in this world has the ability to see through things. Could it be that I still have the blood of the Hyuga family? My eldest cousin showed me the sword skills of the Senju family, and then he was beaten up by Uncle Madara because he mixed up the skills of the Naginata a lot. The swordsmanship of the Senju family is completely opposite to that of the Uchiha family. It can be used widely to bring out the physical fitness of the Senju clan. It actually has some similarities with the breath of rock from the previous life. Finally, the second cousin demonstrated again. Brother, he has a special physique. The tricks he can use may not be suitable for you. You better start from the basics. The second cousin's tone was a bit harsh, but I understood what he meant. He was afraid that I might strain my muscles if I tried to imitate my elder cousin. Well, you really have to be careful when dealing with people. After that, I took my wooden sword to the training ground of the Senju clan. This training ground was basically filled with little sanjas who were 9 or 10 years old. As soon as I entered, I was stopped by a little Kianju. How about a competition? We have all been curious about you for a long time. I said yes, and I won. After all, I have an extra lifetime of combat experience. If it were in the previous life, I might have refused. After all, there can't be conflict between team members, but in this life, I quite like to simply compete with others. Understand each other's beliefs through the knife in their hands. But I accidentally hit the other person's neck again, which made me feel a little guilty. I had no choice but to find some symptomatic ointment from my second cousin and send it over. Senju Tatami is a very energetic child and feels like he can become a good friend. Andrew's progress once again shocked Senju Hashirama. Was it so successful when he first practiced immortality? This is simply like someone who has learned magic and then started practicing it again after not using it for a long time. Senju Hashirama squatted on the ground, holding his head and doubting life. And by the way, he caught Anjuro, who came to see his situation. Have you ever been exposed to the practice of immortality before? No. How strange. Senju Hashirama's shout called out Madara Uchiha, who was in the room. But what he saw when he came out was his own child with his Sharingan open, staring at Hashirama, who was causing trouble again. Without thinking, Madara Uchiha covered Anjuro's eyes and kicked Senju Hashirama with his toes. Stand up. Senju Hashirama jumped up. Yoshi, Shinjuru can enter the next stage. Anjuro pulled off Uchiha Madara's hand covering his eyes and raised it. Okay. Seeing his best friend like this, Senju Hashirama laughed without taking it too seriously and successfully received Uchiha Madara's death stare. Ahem, Zingjuro, let's use the wooden sword we practiced with first. I will demonstrate to you the sword skills of the Senju clan, and then you can follow along a few times and try to maintain the state of absorbing natural energy. Yes, being able to see different styles of swordsmanship again made Zingjuro a little excited, and Senju Hashirama was also infected with excitement. He directly pulled out a tachi from the weapon rack in the yard, gathered all his strength into his arms, and waved the tachi in his hand in the air. After performing several beautiful tricks, he held the handle of a knife and hovered the tip in the air. I always feel that there is nothing wrong with not having an opponent. He turned around and looked at Uchiha Madara. Madara, you are an Uchiha again. Why not just call Tobarama to be your sparring partner? 10 minutes later, Senju Tobarama, who was forcibly dragged out of the workroom.
No more novels? Take part in the voting. The most requested novels and those with the most likes will be chosen for publication on euroaudiobooks.com. There, I can upload as much as I want without the risk of receiving a strike. Our 18 novels and other content that exceed what is morally acceptable are only published on Patreon or the free novels page. Remember, the site is funded by donations on Ko-fi and Patreon memberships.